All right, good morning and welcome. It's the end of a wonderful week, and we're grateful to be here. We're grateful to God for life, and thank you for making us part of your morning. This is the AM show here on the Joy News channel. We'll begin the show with our news review, and today we'll be joined by Joy News editor Elton Brobe as our guest. And then after that, we'll bring you AM Sport. Yesterday, the Black Stars did the magic. I mean, they came from a goal down to beat the Central African Republic by 2-1. And Muftar Nabila will be bringing you all the reactions from that game here on the show, plus other sporting news as well. His guest is former president of the Ghana Football Association, George Afriyie. And then afterwards, we'll bring you the big stories. Now, today, what are we looking at? Now, the police service has interdicted 3 people, COP Alex Paintsil and Superintendent George Afriyie, suspected to be the mastermind of a leaked tape to oust the Inspector General of Police, George Afriyie, which has led to a parliamentary probe. Now, the police say they have acted in a way that breached their regulations. Questions have, however, been raised about the timing of the action and whether or not the Inspector General has made the right call. Our analyst will probe into the matter, including you as well, and what you do make of the matter. Also, there's a push for a more independent parliamentary candidate to emerge and contest for the 2024 elections. The National Interest Movement believe this will check the rule of duopoly in Parliament and ensure more accountability and better governance for the country. Founder of the National Interest Movement, Dr. Abusakara Foster, will be here to tell us more about this initiative and the strategy to attain it. Now, so we'll bring in your thought as well on this important matter, and then afterwards we'll bring you a conversation with the Department of Food, and we'll deal with all of these discussions and more. But I would want to take your thought on what you make of the strategy to put more independent candidates in Parliament. I mean, this morning whilst I was driving, I was thinking about how a group of people, delegate, do decide for the entire constituency, and how they even use that as their cash cow. How can we break that? And so we'll talk about that and find out what you do make of that as well. So that will be the show. Would welcome your thought and your viewpoint on social media. And also, when we open the phone lines, call us and let's talk about Ghana. Well, that's how the show will be. My name is Samuel Kojo Breza. I'm just a voice representing a team led by Kingsley and Derek. But up next is the AM News. Do stay. Well, let's do AM News now. And the NDC and 4 other political parties have sued the Electoral Commission over its decision to organize the upcoming limited voter registration exercise in the Commission's district offices. The NDC and these other parties are asking the Supreme Court to order the EC to conduct the voter registration exercise at the electoral area in addition to the district office. Now, the suit comes on the back of mounting pressure on the EC to vary its plans to organize the registration exercise. Listen to former President John Dramani Mahama, who has been reiterating NDC's demand in a public address.
I wish to add my voice to those who have called on the EC to reconsider its decision to restrict the registration exercise to its district offices only. Acquiring a voter ID card affirms one's right to vote, and access to a voter ID card should be easy and not limited by location. Every Ghanaian deserves the chance to exercise this democratic right. I strongly urge the Electoral Commission to facilitate the registration exercise in all its electoral areas to allow for easy access and a reduced burden on the citizenry in their quest to register. I challenge the Commission to be more transparent with the processes preceding the start of the limited voter registration exercise, the replacement of voter ID cards, and the transfer of votes.
Now, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, has also waded into the discussion, warning a number of first-time voters could be disenfranchised if the registration process is not brought closer to the people. Albert Ahin is the national coordinator of CODEO.
To them there. You might say that there will not be many people, but remember we have had 2 years that we haven't registered people who have just turned 18. So the number might go up a little. So I think the EC has to reconsider its decision, of course, unless maybe the government is saying they would not have funds to give them so they could meet these demands. That some people might not turn up for the registration at all, because I can't imagine somebody coming all the way from the Draft Island to Donkokrum to have registration done. And they will not do it.
Now, NDC MP for Afram Plains North, Betty Crosby Mains, is demanding that the Electoral Commission rescinds its decision to hold the upcoming voter registration exercise in its district offices. According to the MP, so many potential voters in a constituency will be disenfranchised because of its size and peculiar nature. The Afram Plains North constituency is made up of largely island communities, and the MP at a news conference argued the voters may not be able to afford the cost and risk to come all the way to the district office of the EC.
It will surprise you that the cost involved is as close as 350 Ghana cedis to go to, in fact, to travel from Agodeke on the Duja Island to Donkokrum. So any eligible registrant who wants to come and register will have to spend that quantum of money. Some of these challenges are eligible voters, particularly women and children, whom I obviously represent, and young people who desire to enjoy their Article 42 right will have to travel several kilometers by water and road to Donkokrum. For those who cannot make the journey in a day, they have to make arrangements for accommodation and leave only after they have been able to register. This is unpredictable since people will be traveling from all over the constituency across to register, not forgetting that people who do not possess the Ghana card will have to arrange and possibly travel with 2 guarantors to help them to register. Given the above challenges associated with the EC's modalities for the registration, I wish to, on behalf of the people of Afram Plains North, who I proudly represent in Afram Plains, appeal to the Electoral Commission through its chairperson, Mrs. Jane Mensah, to, as a matter of urgency, review the registration modalities for Afram Plains North in consultation with the district inter-party committees by creating registration centers on all islands to facilitate the registration of voters. The deployment of mobile voter registration units as done by the Electoral Commission in 2020 is another option available to the Commission to consider. I am very grateful for your time and your attention. Thank you very much.
Now, the Director of Tertiary Education at the Ministry of Education, Dr. Yaira Jakaji, has disclosed that only 20% of senior high school leavers gain admission into the tertiary level due to the low number of universities in the country. Dr. Jakaji, who was speaking during a visit by the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to Akumadan to assess the level of work at the newly built Akumadan Local Government University, says there is a need for the establishment of more tertiary institutions to help accommodate more students. And Asabet has more.
It will for the foreseeable future continue to accept only a fraction of applications due to the lack of space to accommodate them. Director of Tertiary Education at the Ministry of Education, Dr. Yaira Jakaji, says only 20% of senior high school leavers gain admissions into the tertiary level, and there is the need to add up to the number of public universities in the country.
Basically, it is a dream of government to open more tertiary institutions to add up to the existing ones. we have the gross tertiary enrollment ratio, which currently stands at 20%. So this means that out of the students that we churn out of our secondary schools, it's only 20% that access our tertiary institutions. One reason is that we don't have much more of these tertiary institutions in the country. So expanding the tertiary education level means that we have to add on to the existing ones we have.
The government, as part of its quest to address this worrying menace, is working towards establishing more universities in some parts of the country. Here in Akumadan, in the Paintsil North constituency, a Virgin University is currently under construction. Member of Parliament for the area, Augustine Collins Ntim, who is today hosting a team from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, is hopeful that the institution, when completed, will help grant access to a number of senior high school graduates.
Today's visits by the team of experts, give a toast to my dream, and with the kind of recommendations that they are given, and I am happy that in no time it's going to be open. And it has been one of the vision of His Excellency the President, because he's churning out graduates from the senior high schools, now made access of senior high schools to every Ghanaian, whether you have money or all that. The next step is how to be able to contain them, give them the training up to the university level. And this university is also going to offer a potential access to a number of students to be able to at least to also get access to training.
He disclosed that his dream of making Paintsil North a hub of education is on course, as several other educational institutions are in place to help realize that dream.
Indeed, my thinking and vision is to have in the future of Paintsil North becoming one of the hub of education, a citadel of training and all that. So over the years, I've lobbied Parliament and my office to bring a lot of such institutions. We have starting from the Technical Institute, we have one in Kinkers, we have one in Akumadan, and then we have the National Training Center for the National Ambulance.
Mr. Collins Augustine Ntim further revealed that the establishment of the Akumadan University of Local Government and Development would, amongst other things, boost the economy of the area, thereby providing jobs to the people.
Beyond having this school, there's a thinking behind that. It's going to open up the economy of the place, in terms of jobs. In terms of jobs, imagine one day it opens and about 10,000 people come into this. It's going to have a huge impact.
Dr. Yaira Jakadi, who was impressed at the level of work done, revealed that the facility would meet the Commission's assessment of being a fully fledged university.
For now, I think with a few additions that we have suggested to be added, to be amended, we are sure that once it's done, this place can be converted to a full-fledged university.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit.
Well, the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Salih, has urged personnel of the National Service Scheme not to be discouraged by the challenges they are currently facing, but to push them to strive to contribute to the development of the country. He spoke at the 50th anniversary of the Remembrance Day in Wa. And Joy News Upper West Regional correspondent Rafik Salam was at the flag-raising ceremony, and our reports.
Of the National Service and executive members of the National Service Personnel Association, NASPA, were joined by Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Salih at the conference room of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council to watch a virtual live show of the national remembrance of the 50th anniversary of the National Service Scheme. Upper West Regional Director of the NSS, Dawusu Daniel, fed through light on the program.
National Service, we know, started in 1973 by Ignatius Kuntun Achampon. Today, the 7th of September marks the exact day he assented to the decree that established national service. So we know we have lost a lot of heroes, service persons and staff during the day. So we've decided that today we will use the day to remember them and give them some respect.
Dr. bin Salih recalled with nostalgia his 31 years ago as a national service personnel, which he said has impacted on his life.
I did my national service with the then Ghana Water and Sewage Corporation, Ghana Water Corporation now. and have no regrets whatsoever. I learned a lot, and all the things I learned at that time are impacting in me.
He urged national service personnel in the country not to be deterred by the challenges they are currently encountering, but should spur them on to greater heights.
And this gives you the opportunity to have a feel of what people are doing to make our country a better place for all of us. I will therefore entreat each and every one of you not to be deterred by the challenges, but to be spurred on to give of your best as you contribute to the forward march of our dear country, Ghana.
At exactly 11:45 a.m., there was a flag-raising ceremony at the forecourt of the Upper Regional Coordinating Council, where a 2-minute silence was observed for departed souls and the sounding of the last post, aided by personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Police Service. Some executives of NASPA shared their thoughts about the day.
Today is worth remembering because it's to remember all the past NSPs who are dead currently, and today is really a memorable day for us. Thank you.
Are you proud to be a national service personnel? And tell me why.
I'm very proud to be a national service personnel because I'm serving the country, that is Ghana.
So it's good that we also go through history to also know the people that have contributed their quota to support national service. So I think it's a very good initiative that they have given to us.
Though they thank the government for the increase in the monthly allowance, they believe it is peanut that can hold both body and soul together.
559 is actually too small. When you take 559, you go to the market. It will surprise you that you only buy some few tubers of yam and then tomatoes. So it will be good they actually increase it. We heard they've increased it to 715, but then also the 715 have not come yet. It is something we are actually expecting, and we are praying that they send it to us.
Reporting for Dwayne News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Here in Accra, I am Samuel Kojo Brace. Now, Professor Saidu Al-Hassan, the president of the Japan International Research Center for Agricultural Sciences, Koyoma or Samu, has said soil health is an important tool to enhance agricultural production in the savanna regions of Ghana. He said the area is engulfed with lots of challenges when it comes to agricultural productivity, therefore the need for the use of technology in addressing these challenges. The JICA president said this in an interview with the media at a kickoff meeting on the technology establishment for regional adaptive regenerative agriculture in Africa.
The project, which was started in April, is aimed at developing a sustainable soil and crop management technology that contributes to improving soil health in wet and dry savanna regions and Africa as a whole. Speaking in an interview with the media, the president of the Japan International Research Center for Agricultural Sciences, Koyama Osamu, said agriculture in the area is surrounded with challenges.
Savannah region has many problems, but the productivity issues, sustainability issues are based on soil fertility. The soil health is so important. We are trying to create the idea of AFRA, Africa-based regenerative agriculture. To enhance soil fertility. But soil fertility improvement is very difficult. It's not so easy. We consider the crop variability and also the water usage or input controls like organic fertilizer and so on. So there must be many technologies, small technology, big technology, but the combination is also important. For example, the choice of crops or crop rotations or treatment of crop residue, and also utilization of livestock sector, manure, and water application, or even chemical fertilizer is somewhat needed for some area.
The Director General of the Council for Scientific Industrial Research, Professor Paul Bosu, on his part said the success of this project will help address the challenges of yield and its spillover.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me say that, and I'm sure we are all aware, that in Africa, especially our own country, Ghana, farmers work on soils that have very low fertility, and this has led to severe degradation, resulting in low productivity and increasing food prices. That's a main concern. And these days, we are not only talking about productivity and food prices only, we are also talking about the agri-food system in general. How do we grow the food? How do we distribute, store, consume? All those are crucial. They are very, very important. And we believe that the success of this project will help to support the agri-food system for Ghana and especially for the northern regions. It is crucial to develop Afra technologies that can be implemented by smallholder farmers based on a better understanding of the diversity of the natural, social, and economic environments.
The Vice Chancellor of the University for Development Studies, Professor Said Wala Hassan, commended the funders and implementers of the project, adding that it comes at a time climate variability is an issue around the globe.
Even our soil is sick, so it needs help. Our soil is sick. Land fertility has dropped. Crop productivity has dropped. So this project, I think, is coming to help improve upon land fertility, human capacity in managing soils, human capacity in producing more crop, so that at the end of the day we can have food security. And this is coming at a time when the globe is talking about climate variability. So it's within that context that this project is so relevant. And I think that I want to commend it too. Because it's not only Japan that is coming. It's not only SAG. It's not Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
And finally, the British High Commissioner to Ghana, Her Excellency Harriet Thompson, has lauded Ghana's parliament for approving a bill that will stop elderly women from being accused of witchcraft. The British High Commissioner said her outfit would continue to support initiatives that will stop the abuse of women and guarantee the rights of vulnerable groups in the Northeast region. She was addressing inmates of the Gambaga witches camp at Gambaga as part of her official visit to the region. Elias Tanko reports.
The British High Commissioner arrived in the region in the company of high-value officers at the Commission. Madame Harriet's arrival in the region coincided with a flood disaster that killed 8 people and destroyed several properties. The High Commissioner was also in the region at a time of increasing concerns about the threat from violent extremists and other security concerns owing to the recent repatriation of some Burkinabe nationals in the region and the escalation of violence in Boko. Her first port of call was the office of the regional minister at the regional coordinating directorate in the capital, Nalergu. The regional minister and his senior staff at the RCC received the commissioner and her delegation.
It's an honor to have a person of your caliber taking time off your heavy schedules to call on the people of the Northeast region. But just to let you know that this is quite a very young region with a lot of challenges in our pursuit for development. It is because of those challenges that the people and the chiefs ask for the region, so that if we decentralize power closer to the people, we may be able to better prosecute our development agenda.
A PowerPoint address of the situational report of the region was then presented to the Commissioner and her delegation. The Commissioner, while explaining the reason for the visit, extended her condolences to the victims of the recent flood disaster.
I'm sorry to be coming at such a difficult time for this region. My heartfelt condolences, those of my staff, my team as well, on the loss that you have experienced as a result of the recent floods, the loss of life, but also the loss of livelihoods.
From the coordinating directorate, the regional minister led the High Commissioner to the Palace of the Traditional Authority in line with the established protocols. Her Excellency, after being welcomed by the Nairi and his elders, said her visit to the region was among others to ensure maximum impact of their work across human and economic development, peace, security and stability.
We recognize that the northern regions of Ghana experience more difficult, more challenging human development outcomes and less economic development than the rest of Ghana.
She added that her visit was in line with her responsibilities to strengthen and move forward the relationship between Ghana and Great Britain.
As the High Commissioner to Ghana from the UK, my responsibility is to strengthen that relationship still further and to move it into the future. For me to be able to do that properly, I need to understand the whole of the country, not just sit in Accra and think that Accra is Ghana.
The Overlord, Nabohaga Abdullahi Mahamud Shariga, expressed his gratitude for the visit, but also acknowledged and praised the warm relationship between the two nations.
And that's how we wrap up the news. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Up next is the news review. Stay on. All right, so welcome back. Let's go into the papers and see what they are reporting this morning. Brought to us by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Today, I'm being joined by Joy News editor, senior one here, Elton Broby. I mean, when it comes to the political landscape, you don't go beyond this man. Elton, good morning.
Good morning.
Trust all is well.
I'm good. We're just keeping on.
Exactly. We're all keeping on. And hearing that the suspension of the COP and the other police officers has been suspended. I don't know. I mean, how did they come to you? I mean, I was shocked. I was like, Yeah,
I read it this morning. Indeed, remember that was the concern of so many people yesterday when the news broke that the police had taken the decision to interdict COP Alex Mensah and the two others.
Yeah.
Now, the conclusion was that the matter is still being investigated by the Parliament of Ghana, the ad hoc committee, and so it will be prudent for the police administration or the police council to allow Parliament to come to a decision on their investigation. And then if you want to go further to investigate within the police circles, that would have been good. And so for some of them, including the former CID boss, the position then taken by the police was premature. So this morning I wasn't surprised when I saw the statement from the police suspending the interdiction of the three police officers. I think it's a step in the right direction. Now, in view of what that is happening, the leaked videos that is coming up here, and I don't know who is going to be interdicted going forward on this matter. But it is a very interesting matter happening within the police cycles. The police institution is supposed to be very professional, but the police motive is a service with integrity. Now, the integrity aspect is being questioned in the public domain. In view of what we've heard and what is being told in the public domain. It doesn't appear that all is well within the top hierarchy of the police. There appears to be so much infighting, everybody trying to undo each other. There is intelligence competition among the top brass because somebody wants to be ahead of somebody, and that's clearly what is being played out in the public.
Interesting. I've heard someone say that there's a certain truth that is supposed to come out. But it looks like we were right, because yesterday when this issue came, we were talking about the fact that no, they couldn't have been interdicted because Parliament is doing this. When you do that, you
sort of truncate what Parliament is doing. Now, if I'm interdicted and I'm invited by Parliament to provide some evidence, I can use that as an excuse and say that I'm no longer in active service, I cannot be part of it. And then the other aspect too is that if I'm interdicted and I'm invited by Parliament to give evidence, then it's like there's no hold back.
So I can go
I can spill everything I want.
And again, then the potential new people who would have been invited would not freely come out because someone came here, said everything they have to say, they were interdicted. Should I do the same thing? So that no, I wouldn't do it. So it was going to, disrupt the work that Parliament is doing in a way, but let's see how this goes.
Yeah, because we are getting to a very important stage of this investigation, where on Tuesday, the select committee wants to now, the ad hoc committee wants to now invite the Inspector General of Police to appear before them. And the IGP has the opportunity to say that I want to appear in public or appear in camera. The other individuals, the claim is that they have more to say, but they are uncomfortable saying it in the public domain. So they want to have their testimony taken in camera. Alex Mensah and then George Afriyie. So on Tuesday, the committee want to hear them in public, in camera, and then take a decision to now invite the IGP to appear before them. But remember, some serious allegations have been leveled against the IGP in public. Is he going to respond to these allegations in public or in private? These are some of the things that's going to happen on Tuesday. So Tuesday is clearly a day for some kind of a showdown, to borrow Japan's word.
No, but there is one important question to be asked. On whose order were the officers interdicted, and on whose order is their suspension, their interdiction being suspended?
So the correspondence that we got, let me just run through the correspondence that we got. So this one that came in this morning, it says that following the interdiction of George Alex Mensah, Eric JB, and then George Afriyie in connection with the leaked audio, the police administration would commence disciplinary proceedings into the conduct upon completion of the ongoing probe by Parliament. In order not to prejudice the ongoing probe, the police administration has suspended their interdiction. So the order is coming from the police administration, not the police council. So the police administration, that clearly the person at the helm of affairs is what the IGP. I'm thinking that in matters of this nature, at the level of the COP, COP is the last stage. Being an IGP is clearly a political appointment. So all the IGP, Alex Mensah, they are all at the same rank. It is just by providence that somebody has been elevated to become IGP. Now, in terms of suspension, when it relates to people at that level, my understanding is that it has to sometimes come from the president in consultation with the council or the police council. This release that's been on from yesterday after now, the catch here is that it's coming from the police administration. No reference is made to the role of the police council. Or
whoever, interesting. Because I've heard people tell me that decision could only have been taken by the council. And not any other
police administration. Maybe they've gone through what is suspected of them, and that probably explains why they've taken this U-turn. But let's see how the coming days will tell us.
Interesting. There's a story on the front page of the Daily Guide.
So I think the Daily Guide is late on this matter, and I don't blame them because the subsequent statement came quite late yesterday in the early hours of this morning. So the front page of the Daily Guide says that IGP fires COP Mensah, 2 others over leaked tape, and the information is already out there. These gentlemen, they appeared before an ad hoc committee in Parliament, and then because they had sworn an oath to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So they were bound to tell the truth, and that's exactly what they did. That is according to them, the truth according to them. And so the police took some action because of what the police code of conduct says, that you cannot be involved in some of these matters in public. And that's the reason why they have been interdicted. But the question is, they disclose some of these things in public because they were compelled to do that by a constitutionally mandated body, as the Parliament of Ghana. which represents the people. So I think these are matters subject to interpretation by the lawyers. And so the latest on this matter is that the police took a decision to suspend these individuals, and now the police are taking another decision to suspend the suspension. The suspension they issued earlier, and that is the situation as we have it. So that is what is on the front page of the Daily Guide. IGP fires COP Mensah, 2 others were linked.
Even the education we are getting is that the interdiction, the right word that they should have used when if you are suspending it, is lifted and not suspended. So even the police themselves are saying that this is like a new thing that is coming, you know. Well, they are learning new things by the day. Of course. It looks like things were done in a rush, really.
Absolutely.
So that's why we're seeing all of that,
So the other stories making the headlines in the Daily Guide, it looks like the Alan Chemanten matter will not go away anytime soon. And the NDC says that they want him to join them.
Okay.
The joiners, NDC, invite Alan Chemanten. The story is that the largest opposition party, the NDC, has surprisingly invited Alan Chemanten to join the party. The strange invitation comes barely few days after Alan Chemanten withdrew from the ruling New Patriotic Party presidential election scheduled for this year. Top member of the NDC in the Ashanti region, Ofori Ajiman Bwedi, also known as Kenzu, a former MCU for Obuase, who extended the invitation, said Alan is certainly not happy in the MPP. According to him, he has realized that Alan decided to bow out of the MPP November 4 election due to constant maltreatment by the MPP fraternity. And this is a story by Joe Ewa, a very good friend of mine.
Okay. Will he consider this?
I really don't think so. I really don't think so. That is to join NDC, we're better if you went independent.
Yes. So I mean, independent. I mean, there's no way.
Absolutely, that is you standing on your own.
Yeah.
But to move to your opponent's camp, that I don't think.
But they can let him with vice presidential position, isn't it? It's better than not.
In fact, I've already seen flyers making rounds. Alan and John Mahama for the NDC ticket.
Okay.
That is what is making rounds. But Alan himself says that he will have the opportunity to tell us his political future. Wait to see that day. But clearly, there are still issues regarding this matter. First was the decision to now say that I'm no longer contesting the November 4 National Delegates Conference of the party. The party says that the issues he raised are matters already before a disciplinary committee of the party, and they are almost through with their investigation. So they were kind of surprised and used the word regrettable that he took this decision. The camp hasn't spoken yet, so it's unclear their next move. But what we do know is that there's been a lot of overtures the last few days. In fact, even before the announcement, that he wouldn't contest, I'm very much aware of moves that were made by certain individuals to scuttle his decision. And remember that first was a news conference that was scheduled for 10 a.m., moved to 2 p.m. because a lot of interest came to play.
Okay. And
then eventually they decided that they would cancel the news conference and then came out with this
statement. Interesting. It means that political decisions cannot be arrived at just at a go.
At all. I mean,
a lot of interest.
I mean, you have people who have supported you, who are members of the MPP, because they like you and they believe in your qualities. They were of the view that you make a better president. So that's the reason why they decided that against
all odds,
the most vital voice in the NDC and the MPP, they decided that they would follow Alan Chemanten. And then there are your financiers, people who funded your campaign, and then your core supporters as well. So you needed to listen to all of them before taking such a decision. Now, I heard people say that he is thinking of going independent. And I also know that some of the people who followed him, key members of the MPP, made it clear to him that the MPP is our only home. If you're going independent, we will follow you.
Oh, okay.
So there are a lot of things happening, but I know for sure that Alan is not constrained.
Which means independent is out of
from what we are hearing. It doesn't look like something that you want to even consider. But who is he going to support in the November 4? Is he going to even support anybody?
Okay.
And the rumor we are hearing that there's been some extended hand to say that why don't you accept the position of a running mate so that you partner the likely candidate to emerge winner in November 4, and that is the Vice President, Dr. Muhammad Bawumia. Why don't you accept, so that once you accept, the issue of confusion, disunity in the party will be addressed head on.
Yeah.
Because the only bloc currently in the MPP that is seen as rival to the establishment candidate is Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen. And he represents a bloc that people wouldn't want to admit, but clearly the Kufuor faction in the MPP. And these people, some of them, Nano Hininto, Yabuabena Samwa, maybe
even Kwabena Japan himself.
Yeah, and a lot of them. Remember that even though some will say that even though their party is in power, some of them are in opposition in their own party. So this is a major bloc. Now they have influence. If I could go
PNM,
and then if you look at Kofi Adjei's analysis of the voting trends in the Ashanti region, vis-a-vis Alan's contribution and all that, how it drops, how it rises, it tells you that the bloc is very important. I know, for example, that in the last few days, there's been a lot of talks about it. In fact, the talk started before all of them declared their intention to contest the presidential race. The talks about whether you allow, why don't you deal with the factions in the party? Why don't you address all the concerns in the party? So why don't you let these two individuals who are so powerful to go together?
I remember that discussion.
To go together. And then I remember Oseche Mensah said that he actually went to see former President Kufuor to suggest the idea to him that why don't you speak to Alan, allow Alan to partner the Vice President to go to, because Dr. Bawumia cannot be Vice President forever.
Yeah.
Yes, there has to be natural elevation. And President Kufuor's response was that allow the party people to decide who they want them to lead. And so that suggestion or that move by Oseche Mensah
collapsed.
But now it has resurrected. And people are pushing, because the assumption is that once they're able to deal with this matter, the MPP will have no issue going into the 2024 election.
Okay.
They would have dealt with the factions and the disunity that is clearly beginning to emerge in the party. Is Alan going to accept the position of running mate to the vice president? Should the vice president emerge winner in the November polls? I mean, these are matters that is being discussed at the very top end. Hopefully, hopefully after November, we'll know.
But from what you know, is it a likely thing that the Alan camp will accept that, okay, let's become the running mate to whoever wins?
I think their point has always been that the system has never been fair to them. They've raised issues about intimidation of their supporters, but they've raised issues about the fact that there appears to be an entire government machinery and party machinery behind one candidate. So the playing field is not level. And no matter what they do, they have the view that they will not be able to match up with the resources available to the vice president's camp. So it will be a match ado about nothing. You are not likely to win the November 4 election. Because when it comes to resources, you don't have it. If people are moving at 100, you are around 10. How are you going to catch up?
Okay.
That is the issue. So, and the feeling is that because the resources are available, because there appears to be, an executive endorsement, an executive backing. That is the Alan's camp concern. And that's the reason why, for my information, he took the decisions that he took, apart from the issues of intimidation and violence that, characterize not the entire Superdelegates Congress, but especially in the North. And then it was a trigger to, now tell him that you don't have to go. And then secondly, you can't rule out his performance in the Superdelegates Congress when he came third behind the vice president and of course Kennedy Japan. So he himself has personal issues to deal with, but clearly his concerns is what the party is looking at.
Well, on the day of the elections, I spoke with Kwabena Japan and he hinted that even before the superdelegates, he had met with some people to look at the idea of coming together.
Of course.
So now that Kwabena Japan is out, Alan is out, is that still being considered as in pitching camp with any of the four in the race now?
I mean, I think it's something that they have to seriously consider. Boakye Yaku also made the same point that before the Superdelegates Congress, the 9 other contestants met, they spoke to each other. And the conclusion was that after the Superdelegates Congress, or maybe going into the November 4 election, if there should be a runoff, who do they support? And they appeared to have taken a decision that they will back whoever
places second,
whoever places second in the runoff. So, and their decision was not in favor of the vice president.
Okay.
So now that we have 4, Dr. Afriyie, Adainimo,
Kennedy Japan, and
then the vice president, who are they going to support? I mean, if they should go by their own established agreement, then you can conclude that they will be supporting Kennedy Japan against the vice president.
Interesting. That will be a tough contest.
It will be a tough contest, but I think it will be. I think from the way things are looking, it will be difficult for anybody
to be the vice president.
To be the vice president.
Oh, okay. Yes. Will you be shocked if Kennedy Japan comes up today to say, okay, I've considered things, I don't think I would want to run?
I'll be shocked.
You will?
I'll be shocked.
Okay.
I expect the vice president to win more than 70%.
Oh, okay. You don't expect Kennedy to pull out, but you want him to go, but the vice president will win more than 70%.
I mean, the party appears to have taken a decision on this matter, and it's not a decision that they are prepared to change their minds on.
Interesting. Okay, so that's from the political colossus here. One of the political colossus, Elton Brope. So take everything he says in that regard highly. Now, let me move on to the final newspaper. It says, Women, Children Voices Sidelined in Climate Action is a fatal error. And that's according to Second Lady Samira Baumia. In all of the discussion about climate change and what have you, women have not been at the forefront.
No.
We've seen men, and he says that really, if you want to take such actions and you take out the women and the voices of children, that is suicidal. Now she says that she is confident that this can and will catalyze a movement that harnesses the power of voices previously unheard. Now she's, quote, our shared goal is to amplify the often unheard voices of African women and children, recognizing their unique experiences, perspectives, and potential contributions in steering our continent towards a sustainable and resilient future, she stressed. So let's see how, the powers that be will consider this. I think that's important we bring in women.
It's very important. Climate change is a global issue now. And women, because of their role, even in farming, I mean, we have a lot of women engaged in works that impact directly on the environment. And if we are serious about this climate change matter, then I think that the call is in the right direction. I know that she participated in the Kenya event.
Yeah, because she was speaking at the high-level dialogues of African Women and Children Conference at the African Climate Summit Week taking place in Kenya.
Exactly. So let's move beyond the talks and then actualize the things that you want to. She is in a very influential position, and I expect her to lead and bring meaning to the things that she's talking about. It's not enough to just stand on an international platform and make all the beautiful noise, but then when it comes to reality, it's rather the opposite.
Yeah, I know she has a women's conference that was even done 2 months ago.
Yes.
Maybe that could be one of the platforms by which you use to mobilize the voices of women.
Very important. In fact, our own president is the AU's gender champion. These accolades are given to them not because they are handsome or whatever. It is because of some commitment that I think that the framers came to, that they can do a better job. So let's see more of that.
Anyway, good news for bondholders. Bondholders who participated in the domestic debt exchange program have received a total of 2.3 billion cedis as their coupons, which mature on August 22. The Finance Ministry in a statement said over 2 billion was paid to holders of exchange bonds in respect of their treasury bonds as if such exchange bonds had been issued on 21st February 2023 and held by such holders as of 22nd August 2023.
It's a very good news. It's very welcoming that government is living up to expectation. The pensioners who usually go and picket at the Finance Ministry, not that they are being paid, we don't hear anything. But if the Finance Ministry is paying, that's all well and good. So I know that the external debt exchange is also another big hurdle that government has to cross. Over $20 billion at stake. And this week we broke the news that government is proposing a 35% haircut. Government is pushing interest payments on these loans, about between $11 and $14 billion to 2026. And these are the proposals before the external creditors. Government is hoping that they will be able to come to some decision. The IMF review, the first review is starting on the 25th of September. If we are successful, then we're going to have another release of $600 million. We understand that the IMF managing director herself is sitting on Ghana's case. Yes, on Ghana's case to review, and the expectation is that we'll make some good progress. But you know, it's a step in the right direction. Okay. There's that in 20. There's a bit of a fear. There's a big challenge ahead after 2025. Whoever wins the 2025 election will have a lot of issues. Because most of the things that you postpone, most of the debt payment that you postpone
will come within that period.
Exactly.
So if we don't make more money, we will find
exactly. Okay. So there's also another very interesting issue. You know, the Electoral Commission is starting the limited voter registration exercise from Tuesday, September 12th. They are targeting to register 1,335,000 new voters across the country. Now, because of logistical and financial constraints, we need to be blank on this matter. There isn't enough money for the issue to do this exercise. So they've restricted the registration to their district offices. So you locate a district office in your area, then you go and register if you are a first-time voter. The NDC, they have issues with it. But the MPP, subtly, also urged the Electoral Commission to consider expanding it so that the registration will be available just few meters from wherever. And yesterday, for example, the NDC went to court together with 4 other political parties. They've taken a decision against the Electoral Commission decision to limit the registration to district offices. And they are asking that the court injuncts the exercise expected to start on Tuesday, September 12th. The court has given an indication they will take a decision when to sit on the matter on Monday. When the thing is taking place on Tuesday. So it's unclear whether they will be successful in their injunction application, or the EC, as independent as it's supposed to be, will be able to go to. But let's face this.
I'm sure it will come down to what you said.
Exactly. There isn't enough finances to do that. And then again, the catchword here is limited voter registration. And so it's not
the major one.
Exactly. So let's see. But the NDC and the others who've made comments, they have genuine concerns, especially if you are living in the island areas. You have to travel to certain places before you can have the opportunity to register. I think it is something that is easy. The worst thing you can do is to disenfranchise somebody for no fault of theirs. And then we have election to prosecute. Former President Mahama described as very critical for the country. So let's see. And then your very own George Afriyie, he says we must be loyal to the MP. He says nobody is bigger than the NDC. No one individual
than the NPP
can say that they not even President Akufo-Addo. He himself has one body. He made that point very clear. And George Afriyie, Deputy Minister, has issued a call to members of the party as they approach the November 4 elections. He says that he emphasized the party's rich history, noting that the MPP principles and accomplishments and the leadership of John Nana Akufo-Addo have had a profound impact, and the party members must be loyal. They should forgo their individual and selfish interests for the betterment of the party going into the 2024 elections. And then again in the paper, if Alan leaves MPP, then he's on his own. The same matter as Kopio. And this is coming from
OPK,
one of his exactly. So that's, and I really don't think that Alan, an experienced politician after all these years in the MPP, from the young executive forum to ambassador to minister for trade, and then back again as minister for trade, 3-time presidential aspirants would take such a decision.
Yesterday, I was telling someone that he now has the opportunity of becoming the godfather to a lot of people.
Exactly.
So from where he is now, the decision to leave the party is not the best. The best will be to stay within the party and probably become the go-to person. Like Kufuor now, even though Kufuor became president. So it could be a little different. But Kufuor has a lot of people who go to him today before they take any decision in the party. So that's something he can even take, because, like you said here, for the Kufuor camp, he looks like the next in line.
Yeah.
So if today President Kufuor is not able to do the things that he has to do, the best person to do it will be Alan Chamantin. So really, it will be in his own interest to stay in the party. And that call by Duka, well, let's see how
if they will listen
party
to it.
Will react to it.
And then some health issues as well. If you live around Makola, Nima, the results from air quality monitoring in Accra have revealed that Nima, Makola, Boblochi, Choko, Madina, Zongo, Junction are the 5 most polluted hotspots in Accra. These areas have recorded most consistently poor quality of air standard over the period, with their sources mainly being sought from open waste burning and emission from vehicles. Professor Kofi Amega, the Breath Accra project lead, told the GNA that these pollutants and particulates were harmful to human health. And so you see, Brace, I have always had issues with fumes.
Yeah.
That's come out of vehicles.
Yeah.
You know, in the advanced country, when you take your car for it to be examined for roadworthiness, emission is one of the things you have to pass. If your car fails the emission test, it will not be allowed to be on the road. I mean, there's a standard within which every car must conform to. If your vehicle is unable to meet that standard, it will not be certified to be on the road. Here in Ghana, you drive behind a vehicle and all you see is black smoke.
Yeah.
And look at the harm it is causing to people. One vehicle, but by the time you move from, let's say, Circle to Achimota, look at how many people health would have impacted by the fume that comes of it. The last time we had this engagement with the DVLA, I brought this forward, and the board chairman, lawyer Frank Davis, said that it's one of the things that they are considering seriously to see how best they can address these matters. A doctor was on the drive time on Joy FM, and he said that they're getting so many people in the hospital, and when they check, their lungs and some vital bodies have been destroyed. So the conclusion was these people have been smoking, and then they did an investigation and realized that they've not been smoking at all.
Yeah.
Yes, they've been exposed to these things, and it's killing people on a daily basis.
And all those places you mentioned are the places where you don't find enough trees.
At all.
Trees that could have absorbed the carbon dioxide. We don't have them.
You don't have them.
Really.
And so it is DVLA, they have a lot of work to do. They need to step up their game. I mean, it's not enough to just, license people to drive or license vehicles to be on the streets. But what else are you doing to protect the health of the people? Some of these vehicles I call them disease vehicles.
Yeah, that's true. All right, thank you very much, Elton. Thank you so much for coming.
So I'll see you later. We have Wachi party very soon.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's a good one. Is it on the way?
Of course, on the way.
I see this one. Well, so Elton Browe is an editor here at Joy News, and we're grateful that he joined us today. And thanks to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic for helping us out with the news review. Up next is the AM Sports.
Can I just say, the former minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, member of parliament for Tamale South, today is his birthday. So let me just say a very happy birthday to a very good friend of mine. A very, very good friend of mine. We share so many things. We eat together. I mean, we are practically brothers. Our relationship goes beyond politics. So today is Haruna's birthday, and I want to say happy birthday to the member of parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, as we celebrate another milestone. May God continue to bless and keep you.
As for your friendship, it's just admirable. I mean, anytime I watch it, I'm like, wow. And thanks, he gave me a tie the first time I came here.
That's nice.
He says that, look, I have beautiful ties, so I'll give you one. He gave me one after the show. Also, Honorable Haruna, happy birthday to you. From all of us here at Joy News, we say, may God continue to bless you. You are such an asset for the country. And may all your secret prayers be answered. We say that on a certain note. All right. So thank you very much. AM Sports is up next. And today, We've got Prime Take with Muftau Nabila, and today he'll be speaking to George Afriyie, GFA presidential hopeful. We've had some development there, but this conversation was on Tuesday before his disqualification on Thursday. He says he will appeal the decision of the Elections Committee, which means he still has some hope of having his name on the ballot paper. There's more coming, but just before, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening in Accra. You can locate them at Spintex opposite Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronoma Bohia behind Angel Educational Complex. In Takrade, they are located at the Aneja Estate, Tema Community 22, and in Techiman, Hanswa. In the Nzima area, they are in Esiama. Give them a call on 0244-867068, 0244-867068, or 0274-234321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic diseases. All right, so up next is Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
It is another special moment here on Prime Take as we speak to a man who has shown so much love when it comes to football, a man who has invested his energy, his time, his resources into football. Rose, when he came to the governance of football as the vice president of the Ghana Football Association, also became a management committee chairman of the senior national team, the Black Stars. Well, he contested for the position of president of the football governing body in 2019. It never went his way. And as you recall vividly, in the second round, after the election or the results were counted, there was a third round. But he decided that at this point, let me throw in the towel and hand over power to Keto Kreku to be voted president of the Ghana Football Association. And again, the following day, the world or the media space saw a video of him congratulating the GFA president, the then-elect GFA president, which is Keto Kreku. Now, he's throwing his hat again into the race for the position of president of the Ghana Football Association. I guess by now, you have an idea about the person I'm talking about. He's George Afriyie. He's my guest tonight on Prime Take. Mr. George, thank you very much for your time.
Muftau, thank you.
You look good.
Oh, you look good too.
I like the cap and the glasses.
Ah, thank you.
What is the secret?
Well, I'm a fashion freak person. Yes, if you love fashion sometimes, you want to change your looks, but it's good to stay healthy. Being a fashion freak, it's good, but then it's good to stay healthy, and then you leave the rest to the world to judge you how they see you.
So if you were not into football, what would you have been doing?
Well, apart from football, I love cars. I've been involved with cars, automobile in a different aspect. And I also love farming. I'm a village boy. Both sides of my family, from the mother side, the father side, my great-great-grandfathers were fishermen and all that. And my mom's side, I see my great-grandmother and my grandmother, they were farmers. I mean, they were cocoa farmers.
Okay.
And so I see the future of Africa, that we need to invest in farming. I think that if you had the opportunity to travel out of this country and you see how nations have developed, if you specifically I want to talk about Japan, US, Canada, and then you have to know that as a young man or as any person who come from a background of some farmers, you need to take farming seriously, because look, we are blessed. This country, we are blessed to have natural lands. I mean, lands that are fertile, to grow all sort of crops and fruits for our well-being. And so I think that I love to go into serious farming. I'm doing it already,
Okay.
but I think that I can do more. I'm trying to woo some investors into the country and to go into serious farming.
When you say you are from, you are a village boy, which village are you from?
I'm somehow Accra Adan boy when it comes to, I'm a Gandangwe boy,
Okay.
Yeah. And then on the other side too, I'm the Achim Ashanti and Ashanti Achim boy.
How?
Yeah, you know, the history shows where my great grandparents migrated from, in a village called Jimechi.
Okay.
Within the Ashanti regions.
Okay.
And most of them settles in Achim and then Asante Achim lands.
Oh, okay.
So they migrated, first settled in Agogo,
Okay.
Bompata, Cochrane Tumi, and then Nkwetia. These were the areas, Usino, these were the areas where the family, from the other side of my family. And then from here, it's purely between the Greater Accra. So it's just Accra and Adan.
So where were you born?
Okay, so I was born in Accra.
Then you're an Accra boy. So you're not from a village?
No, but I grew up partly in some villages. Some villages, yes. I grew up partly in some villages, but sometimes, yeah, because a story was told. Sometimes I need to say this. The story was told that my grandmother, my mother, to be honest with you, my mother, my father attended Bompata Training College.
Oh, okay.
And met my mom, a young lady, and impregnated her and ran away.
Oh God!
That's if that was self. So the audience, that's me. That's me.
So, do you know your father?
Oh yeah, I was living with my father in Akosobo.
That's why after ran away, he came back.
Oh, yeah, I have to go look for him.
So how did you find him?
Oh, it's easy because you know in this country, once your dad has classmates,
you will track.
So one day, yes, I had to chase my mom and say, "You have to take me go look for that man." And my mom took me to a town near Pom. I don't know whether you know where the Akosomo.
Okay.
When you're going to Akosomo, it's a town called Pom. So that's where the fathers, my father's father had a house there.
Oh, okay.
And so we went there. We found my grandmother, and my grandmother said, "Your father is a young teacher somewhere at Akosomo."
Okay.
So we had to trace my dad, and then we met my dad. He was a very handsome man.
At what age?
I was maybe class 2, class 3.
Okay.
And I saw the man, very nice man. And then if you know Akosomo very well, I mean the staff of VRA then, they lived in bungalows and all that. So I went with his brother. And his brother was a tutor at Akwamuman Secondary School.
Oh, okay.
So he took me to the house, and my dad had gone to fishing as a teacher. Yeah.
He was teaching and then
he would go to the Akosomo Dam site to do fishing. And sometimes you do fishing and bring fish back home and all that. So we got there and he was not there. And then he had a mango tree behind his house. So because the brother had the key to his bungalow, he opened and then I entered. And then I just saw ripe mangoes and climbed the tree and started.
You're already homeboy.
Yeah, and then the man came and said, "Hey, mango." Then the brother had just folded his arms and said, "I call what to baby and you have run away." So that's the boy there. So
you've been a firebrand for a long time.
So that was it. And then he saw me and he was like, "Hey, Kwesi." I mean, that was
Wow.
Yeah, that's me.
So how would you describe your childhood beginning?
It was okay because I mean I had some great grandparents, had some good family. My uncle, one of my uncles was Air Force pilot. Two of my uncles were both Air Force pilots.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they were Air Force pilots, and so.
How did you get into football?
Football, that's another interesting thing. I've been Sasofo since infancy. And
your great grandfather was into.
That time, you know, he
was not even there.
No. Hasselhoff is older than my father.
Okay.
But not older than my grandfather.
That's what
and my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather. They were in the 18-something. Hasselhoff was 1911.
1911, yes.
Recently. You say, how did I get into Hasselhoff? That's what I was.
Football in general.
It was quite an easy thing. Now, after I was released from detention, I left the country for about 4 or 5 years. But I didn't want to get involved with anything at all. During rolling, so I left the country. I came back.
Did you run away or something?
Oh, I won't call it run away. I left to go and practice my profession. You follow me? Yeah, because things were in a state of confusion and all sort of things. Then, after 4 or 5 years, I came back. And Hasselhoff was then on his knees. We were being defeated left, right, center. So then the elderly people in the club, people like H.P. Nyamite, Tommy Thompson, what do you call that? Kwesi Asante Sachi, Dr. Kweno, Alaji, Tijani. Yeah. These were big people in the club. The Ambassador Secretary, you can't mention them. Hasselhoff has always been with big men. So one day, I was then staying at cantonments. I said, oh, I haven't had tilapia for a long time, so I'm going to go back to You asked me how I got into it. Yes. So I drove from, I think it was a Saturday or so. I drove to the old and first fire service station near Mokola.
Oh, okay.
When I got there, the fish has not been brought, you know. The women were not there. So I said, well, let me go to Tudu and Adabraka. The road continues.
Yes.
Because this is a place I've not been for years, even though I've lived in Adabraka before. Myself and Akufado, we all live in Adabraka on the Castle Road, you know. Now, when I got to Hasselhoff old office at Tudu, it was a small little place. I saw our bus, an old bus, parked in front.
Those days?
Yeah, those days, parked in front of a certain bank is there on the left side. Then there was a lineup of gentlemen on by a wall. Then somebody shouted my name, so I stopped. One of the big men saw me and he called me. So I parked my car and joined them. And then I asked them, oh, what are they doing here? They said, we are waiting for the footballers to come. They are waiting for players to come, to travel to Kumasi to play Asante Kotoko. Can you believe it?
It is how the bosses waiting for the players, not the players waiting for the bosses.
Absolutely. They have sent people to go and call players from their various homes. It's unbelievable, but it happened. So I was surprised. So I have to join them. So we're there sitting down. Then I remember very well, Alhaji Has, may he rest in peace.
Yes.
Alhaji Has came and said, sir, I went to this man, he saw me, he disappeared. I went to this man, I couldn't get him. In short, no discipline. Finally, they had just about, they couldn't even make, I think about 13 players or so. And they are going to bring Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And whilst we were discussing this issue, the driver came. The driver of the bus, a rickety bus. It was a Leyland bus, some of the huge Leyland buses. And then he said, there's no fuel in the in the vehicle. Oh, so we have to contribute. There and then, my money I have for my tilapia, I have to put it inside.
So, for me, that was your first investment into House of Oak.
It was so interesting. Then finally they went to Kumasi and we had a draw. Believe me, the following day, HP Nyamite, a big boss, big man House of Oak, and in Ghana football, I think it was the longest serving GFA president apart from Kwesi Nyantakyi.
Yeah.
He came to my house, the old man himself, with gray hair, you know, nice looking man. I said, now, Mintabo means I want you.
Yeah.
So I came out, got into his car, we drove to his house at Labone. I said, look, you'll be following me now anywhere I'm going to. In football.
More off. You've not become his handbag.
I will hold his handbag. Then we had a match. There was a match between Ukwawu United and Kotoko. It was scary. For a long time, I have not watched a match. The stadium was fully packed, including the presidential box. Then the presidential box was just a small place, you know. And Ukwawu defeated Kotoko. Come and see. You should come and see with your eyes at that time. Football fanatics. It was too dangerous. Then after that, there was another match. And then I started assisting him to some of the training grounds and whatnot. By then we were training at Legon here.
Oh, okay.
And I remember Professor Tamils was then a professor at Legon. So he used to come to watch the match. But he's also a House of Oak president. And then we were going to play a match, one of these Africa Cup of these matches,
CAF competition,
CAF or whatever it was. And we had our training at Legon. Then surprisingly, after that, he asked me, how do I find the boys? I said, oh, I think they are fairly well. They are fairly well. And they made, the coach was there, but the members of the board, they will come out with the players. They will tell you, you are playing, you are not playing. Even if the coach comes out with a list, they will have a look at it carefully first. Well, they control the club. And then a team was put in place, and the leader for our trip was Totobi Kwachi.
Totobi Kwachi.
Totobi Kwachi, who later became National Security Advisor to Rawlings.
Oh, okay.
He was then I think a minister of information or something. I've forgotten exactly. It's years ago now. So Totobi accompanied the boys to Zambia. We are going to play Zambia and Ghana Red Devils.
Oh, okay. In fact, even recently they came and played Korago.
So we went there. I didn't go. Toby went with the boys there, and were able to have, I think, a draw. So naturally, if we come back, we have to play our hearts out to defeat them. that match, I was there with Nyemete and the big men. And we had an opportunity and we threw it away.
You lost?
So we were kicked out of the competition. It was then that I noticed the temperament of supporters. I always say I have known supporters for years. So somebody came and whispered into Nyemete's ears. And Nyemete also passed a message over to the others. Then I followed them and we left the place and went to the residence of Kwesi Asante Sechi, who incidentally, his son is my direct cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we married my aunt. Whose picture is this one? This one.
Oh, okay.
The lady
okay.
there.
Yeah, okay.
Now, when we went there, all the giants of House of Owo were there, including Atu Ahoyi. You know Atu Ahoyi?
Yeah, former GMPC boss.
Yeah, Atu Ahoyi. Totobi was there. There's a gentleman who, but he has died. They were all then young men. He has died. Atu Austin. A gentleman by the name Atu Austin. Very nice guy. And then others, I can't call all of them now, including Alhaji Haas. We were there, Alhaji Tijani, everybody. Now, then they announced that club will be handed over to one Mr. Lawrence Ajedu, may he rest in peace. A gentleman, he was a banker by profession.
Oh, okay.
Now Ajedu stood up and said, gentlemen, I can do anything for House of Owo, but chairman of the club, no.
You are afraid of the supporters?
The responsibility and the rowdiness of supporters and other things. By then, clubs are, if you are running a club, the money comes from your own pocket.
Yes.
You the head.
Oh, okay. He was also afraid of his pocket.
Of course, yes. So, when he said that, everybody was quiet. Then all of a sudden, one of the radical leaders, who was a big man there too, Tommy Thompson got us there. Nyahu, you are now in charge of the club. Just like that. Oh. So I thought he was joking. In less than an hour, it had been announced. And that was that.
You took over?
I took over. But I told them, now I will come in with my so-called twinkle, twinkle, little stars. How I brought Shamukwe and others, and they became stars. Now,
the musical youth.
The musical youth. Then I quickly decided that the first thing I must do is to find out why the thing is really on its knees. And I noticed that they have been taking monies. So they play fixed matches.
So fixed matches, they've been in the system for a very long time.
You see, what shocked me was that the person who had been giving the money, who was a board member of Asante Kotoko, a good friend of mine, I was at home with two officers, two people, General Eskin and one Mr. Odwe Size. When they came to me and thanked me, he said, you know, we are doing the right thing. I have been giving the money to your boys whenever we are playing them. So he congratulated me for being able to dictate that, because I told the old man that I will, the moment I get the problem, what we call a medicine diagnosis, the right diagnosis, that's what the solution is, no problem. So when I got to know those who have been indulging in that, there were about 23 players. I sacked all of them. Just sacked. And already had these young boys, Shamukwe, Abladekuma, Anyete Sowa, Ezekiel Alamu, Joe Ajoda, this goalkeeper, I forgot he's in the States, and they are now big men. In fact, one of them called me 2 weeks ago from America. You follow me? They were little boys, average age, I'd say about 15. So I quickly got in touch with a staff sergeant from Burma camp, a physical instructor, and built them up. They were not touching football at all. We were running on the beach every day. You had to build them up.
Yeah, to be able to play.
Before they started.
And have the energy.
Exactly. Now, the first time we were going to have training, the coach failed to turn up.
Who was the coach then?
His name was IGP.
Oh, okay.
IGP was the name.
There was one coach also something. I forgot. Is it Coach Kobna or something? I don't know.
No, Kobna took over finally.
Oh, okay.
And he did a good job. Kobna was recommended to me by Inspector General C.K. Dewonu.
Oh, okay.
Who is among the top people in the club. But then he was Inspector General. He recommended Kobna to me.
Yeah.
And he was cautious because Kobna was an Olympics man.
So the level of Olympics has been there for very long time.
It has always been interesting. Always is an Olympics either player or coach who have been making it possible for us to win matches, not locally but even internationally.
Wow.
You know Jones I took with you.
Yeah.
You know how far it took.
Yes.
He was an Olympics man. You follow me? And Kobna did wonderfully well for us. You see. So it was from there that I handled the club. We were going up and down. And then the coup attempt came in and I was taken off. Straight to S1. So that's the connection there. And after that, but when I had that position, I was made immediately a member of the board, and also chairman of the club. I went through that, left, came back again. As I think this is the third time I've been board a member.
I heard you threatened one of your coaches, Jay Sapon. What happened?
Oh, Sabo. Is he around?
He's around. He's around. I hear you threatened him with a gun.
Oh yes, I did. Sapon, I had information that he is trying to fix a match, so I will lose. I was informed, and I went to the park, pulled a gun on him. I used to go to the park with gun. And either he ran away, I don't even know what happened. But I was called by in fact, he reported to the police. The police came to my house. I told them I had a gun. So they came to my house in Cantonment, had a look, and I showed them. I had a paper on that. So they invited me to the police station. It was Kaneshi police station.
Yeah.
But then the police didn't know I have a military background.
Oh, okay.
So before I handed the gun over to them, I quickly removed the magazine and then unclocked it. And then the policeman said, it was the commander at that time, I forgot the name. He said, "It seems you know much about guns." I said, "I'm a soldier." I said, "Oh."
Okay.
But Sabo is right. I put a gun on him. He's damn right. I haven't seen what you say.
I was meant to understand that anytime you went for training, even players were afraid that you had a chair, you go and be lying down on the chair. They are training, you are looking at them.
No, I sit on the chair. I come with 2 Alsatian dogs. But if you don't do that, you can't control them. I come to the park, and Asofo Park was then opposite National Lotteries. It was a gravel business.
Yes.
Gravel, not this.
In fact, even as recent as 2004, They were still training around that area, I remember, because I've watched them train there before.
And because some of them had their favorites, whom I have sacked. And among those that I sacked were my own 2 nephews, Heso Dampton and Sansim Lapti. I sacked them. You understand what I'm saying? I sacked them.
So how do you feel? I'll come to you becoming GFA chairman, but how do you feel when people talk about match fixing in Ghana football, and even start the example of Hasselhoff oftentimes trying to fix matches with other clubs?
You see,
because this was something you tried to weed out of the system.
Yes, I tried, and to some extent I think it went down, but the sort of behavior we have now with players is unfortunate. You see, the players forget that those handling them, for instance, let's take President Hasselhoff. The club is, I think, is now 100 and something years.
Yes, about 111.
111 or so.
Yeah, 111, 112.
When we took over as board, we didn't even have a playing field we can call our own. Then years passed. Toby Afede became the chairman
of the club,
the chairman of the board of directors.
Oh, okay.
Where I was a member. Well, I'm still a member.
Yes.
And you see, when you have a leader with a vision, then you know you can get somewhere. This man is not here, and I'm saying it. He's not my age group. I can tell him what I think, and he knows that. But the man has a vision in anything that he does. So he came out with ideas. We need a commercial center. Like a joke, we saw one. Yeah, we went negotiated. We bought it. It's Hearts of Oak's property. It's there in Nadaraka.
I've been there.
It belongs to us. Yes. Then we realize we go to train at Legon. When you look at the amount of money we pay, so much. Our Queen's College, the same. Anyway. Then the idea came that we had a park at Bobiman,
yes,
which has been there
for many years.
Huge hectares of land, acres of land, which has not been used. We went there, renegotiated with the chiefs. We now paid proper money for them and bought the land. And then we started planning how to set up an academy. Go there now and see. From here you can go there. You'll be shocked what you see. Now we have our own 4 pitches. 3 grass ones and 1 astroturf. First class astroturf. I don't think there's any astroturf in Ghana that can come close to it. Go and see the sort of buildings that have been put up, springing there. A tennis court, a volleyball court, a golf course, swimming pool, and the boys are there. Now, as I talk to them, they are there. Even the instructors live there too. So we set up an academy. Nowhere, nobody, anywhere in West Africa has got such a thing. And you have to see the beauty of it. Go there now, when you see, you'll be shocked.
But Doc, there are other people who would tell you that, yes, you're talking success off the pitch, but it's on the pitch that translates to off the pitch, because it is what people see on the pitch.
I can assure you that this particular season, what you see from our players, I'm telling you.
No, we've heard this one many times.
Oh, but I am now showing you.
We've heard this one many times.
Not from me, but I'm now telling you.
So would you say that the flotation of shares has been good for House of Folk? Because there are many people who will tell you that the success of House of Folk was chalked when everyone felt a part of the family of House of Folk. But these days, people feel that House of Folk now belong to certain individuals and not for everyone.
No, it shares.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Certain individuals, those who hold shares.
Now listen, take Manchester United in Britain, take Chelsea, take Liverpool. It shares. There are limited liabilities. People buy shares from them. The person who has the big money is the one who controls the club anywhere in the world. So what's their problem? If you want to own the club, recently I told the supporters leaders here in this house that I will wish they will get the money to come and buy shares that will beat the current shareholder, the highest shareholder. That's a Toby Fede. That day, if they can do it, they should do it. It's not anything difficult. If they claim we are over 6 million, even 1 city each.
That's 6 million Ghana cedis.
Yes. You follow me? You see, supporters and no support, they criticize when it's not necessary. I know footballers can at times really also annoy you, but you supporters, you should support financially. Then we know you are supported.
What made House of Folk very successful, especially in the early 2000s, 2001, all the way up to 2004, because you had won the league back to back before Kotoko won it in 2004. What made House of Folk so successful within that time?
Yeah, devotion. The boys were loyal to the club.
These days they're not loyal?
No. And we have now won them. We have won them. The moment you show a sign of disrespect or a sign of what do you call it, betrayal, you'll be sacked.
How many years have you been at House of Folk?
Oh, I can't count. I told you.
So why are you still there? Because if you're there for a very long time, you're still there. What?
I grew up with it. The point is, even being active now in the club is as far back as 19, when did I go to? Early 80s.
Wow.
That's years ago.
If this early 80s, that's like over 40 years.
Yes, so yeah, early 80s. So
and you're still there, strong and good. So why are you still there now?
I am. Can't you see what I'm wearing?
I can see the rainbow colors.
Yeah, nobody has it. The day they will see me with it at the stadium, then you should know that that day House is really going to put for wonders.
So why are you still there now?
It's my club. You also look. You know this.
You can't
man.
retire from the club.
You know Sir Alf.
Yeah.
From Manchester United.
Yeah.
Why is he still there at his age? At his age.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But when you were at House of Folk, you also became a chairman of the FA. Though that was a bit brief. Talk to us about being the chairman of the Ghana Football Association.
That's another interesting issue. The chairman, I was given a position by President Kufuor. And when I got in there, I noticed there's a lot of rot. And I remember when my predecessor was leaving, that's this man, his name passed on.
The late Jaula?
No, Jaula. We came after Jaula. Kofi, Ben Kofi.
Ben Kofi, okay.
When Ben Kofi was leaving, he said, "Dog, you are getting into a snake pit and try to survive." This is what he told me. And I said, "I'll be in there and I'll survive. And the snakes will run away." And he started laughing. The first thing I noticed, they then had the so-called executive committee or whatever. I think they still had it.
But they've just
But then it was made up of a lot of people. And these people will take glory when we win matches. But when we lose matches, I'm talking about Black Stars.
Yes.
Then every head is in trouble.
It is still the same thing now.
The same thing.
Yes.
Now, my deputy then was Kwesi Nyantakyi.
Yes.
A very hard-working chap. I really like him a lot. And then Fred Papu.
Yeah.
These are hard-working boys. Then whether things were going on well, and I came out with a suggestion. I wrote a memo for the minister. The minister was then Kojo Banredu, another excellent person. And somebody leaked the memo. And the whole idea was, I wanted those people there to be cleared. You can only clear them through elections. So I brought that idea of elections. Even though I was sent there on appointment.
On appointment.
I sent it to FIFA. First to CAF and then to FIFA. Then they started all sort of things.
Those who were there, were they doing something wrong? That's why you wanted them out?
A lot. I can't enumerate them. Even now they are complaining about what is going on there. A lot. All sort of freebies and all sort of things that they get there.
So why did you resign then?
I'm coming.
Yes.
So they planned, when they got hold of the memo and they knew what I had in mind, they planned to impeach me.
Yes, I remember Kojo Yanka, was it George Afriyie saying that they will uproot you like cassava?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I haven't seen Apia. Is he around?
Yeah, he is.
Say hello to him. So I took them to court. And the first round, I defeated them. Then I was alarmed by somebody that they are going to see the judge. At that time, and lo and behold, the second case, the judge twisted it. From the court, I came straight to the clinic, wrote my resignation letter, and sent it to the minister. I had a response to my resignation letter from this lady, Madam. It was signed by this lady. She was a journalist before.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she's a well-known person. I don't know why I always forget her name. Elizabeth Ohini.
Oh, okay. She once served as a deputy education minister or something.
Yes. So the response came from the Ministry of Education. But we were there on the education. Thank me, blah, blah, blah. So I resigned on principle. They couldn't believe it. Then BBC called Yaosafo Manfo. He's there, you can ask him. They say, oh, we are friends. I have not resigned. We are friends. It's just a slight misunderstanding. BBC called. I told BBC I have resigned.
Yeah, live on radio.
That's what you heard on the air.
Live on radio.
Yeah. And I resigned.
But if you wanted to ensure the right things were done.
I'm coming. One thing that also is bringing us back in this country, we don't have the culture of resignation. Believe me, I'm telling you, if we had a culture of resignation like some of these whites do, most people might have left government by now. But if you know you can't perform, take your pen and leave.
Is walking away the solution?
Walking away?
Yes.
Walking away cannot be the solution.
Then that's why they are there. That's why they keep still.
It cannot be the solution, but it shows how conscientious we are. And I'll give you a little example before we close. In 1966, when Nkrumah was overthrown, a government was put in place. A gentleman by name KG Osebonso. He later became a minister in Buzia's government. He was a young lawyer. I was then a student. What I'm telling you now, if you Google it, you see. A statement was made by a journalist who was an editor of Graphic then. I think the name is Cameron Dodo. I haven't seen him for years too.
Yeah, he's no longer in the country. He's in the States.
He criticized the South African government, which didn't go well with Buzia and his friends, because Buzia was trying to talk about some sort of unity with the government. And Cameron Dodo was against it. He was in the editor of Graphic.
Well, welcome back to the show. This is still the AM show on Joy News. Well, so we all heard of what has been happening about the police service. The police has interdicted, or the police interdicted 3 people: COP Alex Mensah, Superintendent George Afriyie, and another, suspected to be masterminds of a leaked tape to oust the Inspector General of Police, which has led to a parliamentary probe. The police say they have acted in a way that breach their regulations. Now, questions have been raised about the timing of the action and whether or not the Inspector General has made the right call. Now, just this morning, later part of yesterday, the police released another statement saying that, well, the disciplinary actions will commence after the probe by Parliament. In the meantime, the interdiction is, however, suspended. So as we speak this morning, the 3 officers have not been interdicted by the police. And that's what our analysts are going to help us analyze and get more details of this particular matter. We have been joined by lawyer Kweku Paintsil. He is a legal practitioner. We also have Adib Sani. He's a security analyst. And we'll be joined, by these 2 people for us to go into the matter. Let me start with you, Mr. Paintsil. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Can you
hear me?
I can clearly. Do I have Adib as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Come again.
So let me start with you, lawyer Paintsil. When you heard of that action by the police yesterday, how did it come to you?
I had an opportunity to comment yesterday that what the police had done was unusual, and in my view, premature, and thirdly, unwarranted by any rule of procedure, having regard to the fact that the matters that were being investigated would in law qualify to be called sub judice. In other words, they were at a stage that the findings had not been published and nobody knew whether there was right or wrong at any point in time. So I had made that comment yesterday. That's the view that I had taken of it. So I'm just hearing from you that they have suspended the interdiction. So I really don't know what's going on.
Well, the police say that a matter of, because Parliament is probing this, it will be difficult to say that these people should be on interdiction. I think that is the main reason why they have decided to suspend the interdiction. But why do you think that it was something that should not have happened if they thought that the people had gone according to the rules of policing?
I think 2 or more reasons. First and foremost, this was a parliamentary inquiry. This got nothing to do with the police. Even though the personnel or the people subject matter of the inquiry are members of the police service, whatever was going on has nothing to do with the police in the sense of whoever is trying to reach some understanding of events that have happened. So the whole inquiry has got nothing to do in that sense, notwithstanding the fact that it involved police officers. So that's point number one. Point number two, the timing. Typically, we do interdiction, or interdiction occurs where prior to the commencement of proceedings or investigations into some disciplinary matters, it is determined that the continuing presence of the person whose activities have given rise to the investigation, his continued presence in office may hamper or affect the investigation in some way, then the person may be required to stand aside for the period that the investigation is taking place, and not when the investigation has already started and midway. So that is the unusual part of it. In other words, if they really intended to interdict them, even as part of the investigation that was being conducted by Parliament, then it ought to have been done way before the investigation started. However, if you wait for the investigation to start and the people are midway, giving evidence and so forth and so on, then any conduct that seeks to give the public a different impression or picture of what is going on is an unnecessary interference in the work of Parliament or that particular inquiry that was being conducted. So that is what made the whole thing unusual and, in my view, unwarranted, having regard to the important part that even that inquiry itself had nothing to do with, it wasn't a police service inquiry under the Police Service Act or under the police service regulations. So that is why I thought what they did amounted to an interference with the important work of Parliament. That's my view. That's why I took that view.
So if you were to advise the police on the action they took, what would have been your suggestion?
Well, not that they would run their suspension, but I said the suspension, not that they would run the interdiction. But certainly it's embarrassing because it must. The whole exercise, everything that is going on falls into an area of law called administrative law. Administrative law is concerned with the fairness of any inquiry that is being conducted by way of disciplinary hearing or whatever. And the idea of fairness involves two aspects. First, fairness with regard to the right of the people on the investigation, with regard to their ability to offer themselves and have the right to, offer the best defense that they can have to a matter, including the right to counsel their own, the right to question people who have made allegations against them, the right to have enough time to respond to allegations, and so forth and so on. That is the first rule of what we call natural justice. That rule is the fairness part. Procedurally, they must have access to all of those things. And the second aspect relates to the party, that is to say, in this case, the Ghana Police Service. That rule is called Nemo Judas in Cosa Sua. Nemo Judas in Cosa Sua means no man a judge his own cause. In other words, the Ghana Police Service, because an interested party, or the IGP in particular, being the head of administration of the Ghana Police Service, he ought not to do anything in connection with the hearing of the matter in which is an interested party. He ought not to do anything to suggest that he's seeking to influence what is going on. We say justice must not only be done, but it must be seen to be done. Because the IGP is a very interested person in whatever is going on, because he, if I understand well, is the subject matter or the butt of all the allegations that were made. So it's quite natural and interested party. And when you come into the police administration, he is the head, in terms of the police administration, the head of the police service. So any decision on his part that would seek to suggest that somehow he is trying to stampede what is going on, or somehow he is trying to ensure that certain things go in a particular way, masks the whole discussion. And see, what then happens is that when you have colored the waters in that way, then even in my honest view, the withdrawal of that step still shows a certain first step that gives an indication of where he stands already. So the harm, in my view, has been done. I mean, these are the kind of things, they are sensitive issues, very, very sensitive issues. And by the step that he took, and even though, in my honest view, they now claim to have withdrawn the interdiction, it is giving the public an idea of what he wants to do. And even what I'm hearing is even worse. In other words, they are talking about disciplinary hearing. That's a presumption that what they've heard so far suggests or is indicative that something wrong has taken place. But that's not proper, because Parliament has not finished its inquiry. They have not come out with their findings and facts and recommendations or whatever it is. So where did they form the view that there is prima facie evidence or there is a case to go for disciplinary hearing? And if it is so, why then waiting? What are they waiting for? If they have reason to believe that some wrong has been done or some indiscipline, there's some evidence that suggests there's discipline, then they don't even need to wait for Parliament to finish its work at all. So I'm thinking that the way they're going about it is very embarrassing. What it means is that somebody is not advising the IGP or their legal department is not doing a good work. They are not doing a good work at all, because under the Police Service Act and under the police regulations, there's no requirement for them to wait for Parliament to finish its work at all. Indeed, and in fact, and with due respect to Parliament, it's my own view that even this parliamentary inquiry, with greatest respect, is with due respect an unnecessary thing that it need not have been done by Parliament at all, because under the Police Service Act, the Police Council has a right and a duty indeed to have conducted this inquiry. But now let's put it this way. We have the Parliament that are doing. I'm not saying Parliament does not have power. Please, somebody should mark my words very clearly. But if Parliament has intervened, so be it. And if they are doing their work, everybody ought to be patient for Parliament to finish its work. Parliament has not finished its work, and the IGP has not intervened in this manner, and now you are suggesting there is a case to go to possibly a police service inquiry. Is it, at the same time, is it going to be done at the same time that Parliament is finishing, as Parliament is conducting its work, or you are waiting for Parliament to finish, and so forth and so on? So in my view, the whole situation in which all of these things have been placed, makes me uncomfortable as a lawyer. That's the way I'll put it.
I'll bring you back to the police service regulations later on, but let me bring in Adib Sanina. Adib, from the security point of view, what could probably be the lapse here? That the interdiction was done less than 24 hours, it was suspended.
Well, thank you very much. A very good morning to you. A very good morning to my senior colleague, lawyer Kweku Paintsil. If the police had listened to some of us, it would have saved itself the embarrassment. If you follow my comments on the interdiction, I was very categorical about the timing, which I described as ill. I think the interdiction could have happened just a few days after the tapes leaked. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but we waited until a parliamentary committee sat on the matter and new issues are beginning to emerge. Yes, I do agree with lawyer Kweku about the fact that Parliament is doing its work, which is independent of, the police, which is also doing its administrative bit. But, we hate it or love it. In one way or another, the two can conveniently be linked. So some of us felt that could it be a case of an attempt to silence people or to gag critics? Because we're beginning to know that some senior officers have even petitioned the parliamentary inquiry to have their day before the hearing because they had a lot to say. And you would also remember when this issue started, I told you categorically that there is a lot more to this issue than we know. But you see, if you put emotions to this issue, you might get it wrong. And that is exactly what is happening in this case. Fine, I agree that what they are doing is not illegal. But it begs the question of whether indeed interdicting COP Alex Mensah at this time is right or wrong. Because let's refer to the law. The Police Service Regulation CI 76, Section 105(2) says that an officer shall not be interdicted unless the nature of the offense renders it desirable that the officer should not remain on duty whilst the case is pending. And the officer cannot be assigned other duties without endangering the interests of the service. Okay? So basically, the function of interdiction is basically for you to stand aside so you don't interfere with an active investigation. For crying out loud, this man is already on terminal leave. How does he influence the investigation? That is why I think there is more about emotions to this than practicability. And that's exactly what is beginning to emerge.
No, but on the same police service regulations, 1051, says the IGP may direct an officer who is the subject of investigations or disciplinary proceedings to immediately cease to perform the functions of his office. Where investigations or proceedings are likely to lead to the imposition of a major penalty, and accordingly, the IGP may interdict the officer from performing those functions. So, yes, you may say that he was on terminal leave, but he's still part of the service. He is not on leave or on retirement. So he falls under this, doesn't he?
But there's a lot he cannot do, even the fact that he's a police officer. Remember, he was asked to return his accoutrements.
Yeah.
His gun, his badge, and a whole lot of other items, including his vehicle. Okay, so there are so many things an interdicted officer cannot do, even though in principle he is still a police officer. And by the way, let us put some few things into perspective. You know, it is the president who can initiate disciplinary action against an officer. IGP is also capable. And we have a police disciplinary board as well. Okay, so it makes me wonder where this is coming from. Because we are talking about a general in the police service. That's a COP. That is a general from, you know, when you compare the ranks to that of the army. So I think a better circumspection should have been exercised before coming out with this interdiction. Unfortunately, I think it was hastened at the wrong time, and in the end, it has backfired. And more issues are coming to fore. I don't know if you have seen the videos that is making rounds on social media. So I think, you know, it is quite unfortunate.
So who must bear the cross for this, what you describe as unfortunate development?
Well, it is difficult to say because I don't know where the decision came from, who gave that order for that interdiction to happen. But surely there are some administrative hiccups within the police service, and it has to be closely looked at. And I'm particularly excited that the parliamentary committee is not just looking into the authenticity of the tape or investigating the conspiracy behind the removal of the IGP for political expedience, but it has a wider scope of looking into the generality of the police service and even making recommendations on police reforms, etc. And I think, I am very optimistic in the work of the committee so far, based on the caliber of people on it with varied experiences and the line of questioning that has come as a result. And I'm also intrigued about the new revelations we're getting to know by the day. And more information, I think, behind the scenes is being fed to the parliamentary probe. And the interdiction, in one way or another, I think to some extent undermined the workings of the parliamentary committee.
But in general terms, what impact does what is happening have on the entire police construct?
You see, there are issues within the police service. There are major issues within the police service. And a lot of allegations have been made in that regard about unilateralism, about abuse of power, etc. It is not in my place to sit here and say whether it is true or not, but I have had the opportunity to speak with officers from the very lower ranks to the very top. And there is a great deal of disenchantment within the police service, and we cannot afford to brush it off. IGP is a very good friend of mine. I've had the opportunity to sit with him. He's informed me about his plans for the police service. He has great intentions. We have seen remarkable changes within the police service. But if we do it if we concentrate on the aesthetics from outside and not pay attention to the internal issues, then it becomes a bit of a problem, because it's quite obvious that the police is deeply fractured and something has to be done about it. And I'm hoping that the parliamentary investigation will look into it. So collectively, myself, you, in the media, lawyer Paintsil, and the rest, we can collaborate to see how, we can improve the internal structures within the police service, whether it is through reforms, leadership reforms, procedural reforms, operational reforms, whatever it is, that would make the police stand out to be able to effectively execute their mandate as enshrined in the Police Service Act 350, 1970.
Okay. All right. Paintsil, so, going forward, what is your expectation of how this whole matter should be approached from the committee's level and the police institution itself?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir.
Hello? Wonderful. See, let's put it this way. The police service is an institution like any other institution. And as my learned friend or my colleague has stated, there are deep-seated institutional issues and problems. I recall that the committee of experts who wrote the 1979 Constitution, their report that they issued that accompanied the Constitution, they made some very important findings and certain statements or recommendations. And one of the things that they said is that the whole idea of democratic governance starts from an acknowledgement that government is run by human beings who are fallible. And being fallible, we all make mistakes. Government make mistakes. So government must start from the point of acknowledgement that being human beings are liable to make errors. The whole idea of governance is to try to minimize the errors that we make, the problems that we create. And so that's the standpoint that I want us to start from. In other words, it's not the Ghana Police Service that stands in isolation, even though they are the focus now of our discussion and our everything. So it is my hope that these discussions that have started, in other words, this parliamentary inquiry, as well as if the police service also wants to start its own service inquiry, at the end of the day, whatever it reveals would assist the police service itself or the government, indeed, of our government. Not only of the current government, but of all of us as Ghanaians, to see the kind of issues that are there and how to resolve them from an institutional point of view. So at the end of it, my prayer is that the outcome of the current inquiry, the reports that come out of it, will not start to attract the dust. We do them. Ghana has a good case of setting up inquiries that come up with fact report with the best recommendations, and then immediately thereafter they begin to gather dust, as they say. They begin to gather dust because somebody shelves them, and then that's the end of it. So that's, other than that, all of this that's going on, this is just, in my honest view, a tip of the iceberg. In other words, somebody just happened to have caught these people in the manner that they do. How about all the other people whose communication we have not heard? How about everybody else who is doing all manner of things? So it's the police service which has come under the microscope. Let us see and let us study the report which will come out. As for heads that will roll, I don't want to comment about that. But as a lawyer, let me show you my worry and my concern. There are two aspects of law. First, we've got what we call the substantive law. The substantive law is what states. I mean, it's stated in the acts, in the laws, in the whatever, do this, don't do that. There's also what we call the procedural law. Procedural law is as much part of the substantive law. And that's when people get into difficulty, they begin to talk about technicalities. Let people understand that technicalities is part of the law. So, for instance, when we look at the police service regulations, it specifically provides when and under what circumstances that somebody, for instance, can be interdicted. But you know, what has happened between yesterday and today, that alone could mar, like it has potentially caused this embarrassment and this confusion, and then somebody can then form a view that by reason of what has transpired, these men who are the subject of this inquiry are not likely to receive a fair hearing. And if that one finds favor with the court of law, then what the court of law does is to question the entire proceedings. You know, these are the kind of things that people sit behind and they say, oh yes, there is this conflict. They say, no, but that is part of the law. If you conduct a hearing in a manner as to suggest that the subject of the inquiry is unlikely to receive a fair hearing, then it does not matter if he has caused blue murder. It could have been anything. So where we find ourselves now, I think that the police service must make up its mind if it's got evidence outside what is before the parliamentary inquiry.
All right.
To take these people to their service inquiry. If they have, then of course they should offer them the best of opportunities and everything in accordance with the regulations to respond to the issues. And at the end of the day, if anybody is found culpable, because when you read the regulation, it's very clear. The police officer ought not to find himself in any negotiations, any discussions or anything that borders on politics or borders or whatever. It cannot be the proper duty of a policeman to do the kind of things that they have done, or at least what we're being made to know that they've done. So that's the way I want to,
Thank you very much, sir. I'm grateful to you. Lawyer Kweku Paintsil is a private legal practitioner. But to wrap it all up, then I'll come to Dr. Sakara. We've been joined on Zoom by the MP for Otafo, Eko Vincent Asefua. Honorable, good morning to you and thanks for joining us. You want to make a point on this? What's your thought about all of the development in the police service and how must Parliament, of which you're a member of, approach this?
Well, let me say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. First and foremost, let me indicate that I was very surprised to have seen the interdiction letter that came from or that emanated from the police service. Largely because when you come to Parliament, members of Parliament per standing orders and, if you like, even the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana are immune to any prosecution or any disciplinary proceedings in relation to words or in relation to anything that is said in Parliament. Per our rules, committees of Parliament is also seen as Parliament. So when committees of Parliament also sit, that is a full-fledged Parliament that is being set up or that is being in place. And so with the committee that was set up by the Speaker of Parliament, even though it's an ad hoc committee, it is seen that it is Parliament that is in session. So if whatever is said by members of Parliament is not amenable to prosecution and cannot also be amenable to any disciplinary committees, per our rules, witnesses or people who also come to that committee are also not amenable to any disciplinary committee. And so I found it very surprising when I saw a letter emanating from the Ghana Police Service, as it were, attempting to set these people through a disciplinary committee because of things that have been said when they are just witnesses to a committee just to establish certain things that have been said in a leak tape. So that is my first point, or that is my initial point. Secondly, I am also aware that the rationale, if you like, the reason for the Ghana Police Service bringing out such an interdiction letter was because these people, or these three officers, were seen to be meddling in politics. I think that we are becoming a nation of ostriches. We are becoming a nation of pretenders. Why do I say so? Ghana, or members of the Ghana Police Service, goes to the polls and they vote. Members of the Electoral Commission vote. There is a thin line between neutrality and impartiality. When a person says that I have lineages with a particular political party, whether the person is a police officer or electoral commissioner or whatsoever, I don't think that that should be so much of a problem, because in any case, the person goes to the polls to go and vote. What should rather be our challenge as a people is that in the discharge of the duties of such a public official or such a public person, has it been tainted with political clout? If that has been tainted or that has been affected by any political clout, that is where we should really have a problem. Because we allow the person to go and vote, or we allow the person to go and make a decision during a general election. However, we cannot be seen to be, as it were, chastising people because they have lineages with a certain political party. We should reorient ourselves as a nation. We should reorient ourselves so that people understand that as a human being, of course, we are human beings first and foremost. We might have our biases, we might have preferences here and there, but in the discharge of your public duties, you should be seen to be fair, you should be seen to be candid, which is in consonance with the Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution, that when duties or responsibilities are imposed on public persons, they are supposed to act fairly, they are supposed to act not prejudicially, they are supposed to act in a very candid manner, so as not to bring any tainted or any disaffection to the public office that the person holds.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming in. So you don't expect police to use what the people said at the committee as basis for them to be interdicted, right? That's your point.
It cannot be a basis. It cannot be a basis because they are simply witnesses to a committee of parliament. And as I said, when a committee of parliament sits, it is seen as a parliament itself. And so whatever is said, or members of parliament are immune to things that are said in parliament from prosecution or from disciplinary committee. And people who also come to that committee as witnesses cannot, or if you like, they are also immune, or they are not amenable to any disciplinary committee. And so I do not see, or I felt it was a very wrong judgment for the police service to have interdicted them based on the things that were said during the parliamentary probe.
All right, Honorable Vincent Teko Asifo, I'm grateful to you for joining us. He is Member of Parliament for Old Tafo there. Now let's come into the studio, and there's now push for more independent parliamentary candidates to emerge and contest for the 2024 election. So, I mean, I can even go to a Hunter West and contest as independent candidate. The National Interest Movement believes this will check the rule of duopoly in Parliament and ensure more accountability and better governance. I don't even I'm well placed to have this discussion because this was something I was thinking about when I was on my way to work this morning, so I may be biased a little. I don't know how I can stay in the middle and because it's something that I was thinking about this morning when I was coming. The founder of the National Interest Movement, Dr. Abusakar Foster, someone who tried to be president of this country, who is here to tell us more about this initiative and the strategy to attain that. Good morning to you, Doc.
Good morning. How are you doing?
And thanks for coming.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
You ever wanted to be president?
Once upon a time.
Yes.
Still do.
Let's assume
yes.
you were the president. How would you have handled, this issue about the Ghana Police Service, which is going on now?
I think, first of all, it has not reached that level yet. It has to go through the process because it's a procedural issue internally within the police force. and also, of course, by extension of their responsibility for oversight, the Parliament as well. I won't pretend to be more knowledgeable than my good colleagues, Lawyer Paintsil and his friend, who have dealt with it very importantly, but very effectively. The important thing for me is this. One, there must be a presumption of innocence, because everybody is entitled to a fair hearing, and he's presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. The second thing that we must recognize is that it's a force. It's not like other institutions. There's a chain of command, direct chain of command. And then thirdly, we must recognize the insipid and poisonous influence of our democratic politics, our partisan democratic politics, on all the institutions that exist in the country. If we take those three things into consideration, the real question is, how has it come that at such a high level, people who are not even part of the police force are having a very significant say in what happens at the top there? Also, how is it that, such institutions which play such an important role are only subject to the appointment of one person, the president? Could we guard that appointment better so that some of these issues you're talking about will not even have a chance to feature? We cannot have a system where we are ruled by the lowest common denominator of gossips and lies against people. By the same token, that means you must build the institutions and check systems that ensure that the right decisions are reached in the first instance, and that when there's a problem, that you go through the right procedures. I think in a large measure, the hands of the IGP have been tied because he is the subject of the matter. And in that sense, he's not been able to use his chain of command as effectively as if he were not directly involved. It would have been entirely an internal issue. But because he's somehow involved in it, or part of it, in the sense that there are allegations of a plot to oust him, he thought maybe it would be fairer to have Parliament come in and do an inquiry. But by that same token, it also creates a situation where the chain of command is not working as it should be. And that is why you have this half and half situation, which has resulted in the withdrawal of the suspensions or interdiction. But it speaks to the issue of our institutions, how we appoint people to them, how they are governed with respect to ensuring that they work independently and fairly for everybody, and also, the overbearing power of the executive on a whole range of issues, vis-a-vis it's in relation to the balance of power between the legislature and the executive, and also the judiciary. So these are some of the reasons why our learned colleague will say that, look, this is more than just an event. It is a systemic issue that needs to be looked at in a broader context so that we make those changes. And this is exactly the same path that we have been traveling on the national interest movement. That we have problems, but these are all symptoms. They are not the cause of the disease. The real cause of the disease that we have is our interpretation of a democracy that has become adversarial, very partisan, and is influencing all institutions over which it superintends in a very negative way and in a very skewed way. And therefore, if you want to correct that, you have to have fundamental changes. It's not just a case of, in the case of Kwesi, we do this, in the case of Ama, we do this, because inherent in those decisions are the internal biases of a very partisan system that is going on. So we have to step back from it. We've had 30 years, or 33 years of democracy in the Third Republic. That is
the Fourth Republic.
The Fourth Republic. That is a very rich resource. It is a resource that is our own experience and peculiar to us as a nation. So we must use that in building the way forward and look at the challenges that we've had and see the new innovations that we can make that responds to the real situation facing us, not the perceived situation facing us, but the reality. Accept honestly where we have serious failings. And if we need to check ourselves, don't rely on the person's character being good. Put in place systems that reward and punish in order to move the system in the direction you want to move it in. And that is basically what the essence of what we are saying in the national interest movement, that we have had come so far. We have seen what the situation is now. There's a lot of disenchantment with the partisan system as it operates now. These issues that we're talking about are just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more issues. So why don't we begin by trying to redress these issues at the fundamental level?
What gives you the confidence that, in fact, this is the way to go about all the challenges we have in our parliamentary system?
I think, first of all, the evidence on the ground. You know, we've all been in this country. We've had so many changes from one government to the other and back. The options that we have on the table in terms of solving the main challenges that confront us, we have seen the results of that not being as productive as they could have been, and in fact diminishing in terms of returns to our investment in this democracy. So you must have a new solution. You cannot be in a room where all the doors are locked and you keep pushing on the doors, they're not opening, and you won't try a window to see if there's a window open where you can get out of. So we now have to start thinking how we can come up with other solutions that don't just change political party, don't just change the faces, but begin to address the real problems and challenges we have as a nation. We've come so far, but to get to the next level, we need another solution. That's why we are confident that the independent path, which is the non-partisan path, provides an avenue where we can have people, a caucus of people in Parliament, who will check the system. If in this dispensation we have had to wheel people from hospital beds to come and cast one vote, can you imagine what a healthy people with 5, 10 votes in Parliament can do? And we're not saying that that is the total sum of the solution. What we're saying is that that is a way in which we can begin. And then when you have created a sufficient foundation, then you can go to the next level of maybe talking about independent presidential candidates who will come not to push a particular agenda alone, such as reform and restoration, back to a vision of prosperity for all of us instead of a few, but also they will bring about a unity, a unification that will neutralize to a certain extent the degree of polarization that has happened, fostering ethnicity and you know, extremes in ideology and that kind of thing. So this is where we are as a people, and we have to begin thinking beyond, out of the box, to find new solutions. And I believe that if we have a system where we can use all our human resources available to us, as an independent candidate, you won't have a majority in Parliament if you're a presidential candidate. You have to use people from all sides. So already that begins to dampen this adversarial antagonism of winner takes all, you know? And then it also gives you the leeway to get the best people available. And secondly, you can begin to make some of the fundamental constitutional changes that will move the vote forward. But it may be too high a target to reach in one jump. That's why we're suggesting that we can begin to promote independent parliamentary candidates, to have a caucus in Parliament. And when people see the effect that they're having, then they will believe in this approach a lot more. And we can have a balance of a mix. It's not one or the other, but in most things in life, it is the balance that enables you to take the next big step forward.
Yeah. But it's about the grassroots, really. How do we get the people to, accept that the way to go is to push in non-aligned people in Parliament?
Well, I think first of all, you have to let them see what has been the result of your constituency always voting in this direction or that direction. What has been the result of you changing from one side to the other? There is now a lot of frustration in the system where people feel that, oh, I'm not even going to vote. After all, it has not had any impact on me. So we are not going to tell the community why they should do it. They are already looking for a solution. What you have to explain to them is how the solution gives you more say over this person to represent your interests than ushering in the person on the in the palanquin of a party into Parliament, and then he puts his party before you. But if you send him there as an independent candidate, then you are the person who directly influences him, because at the end of the day, he is not going to be controlled by the whip of either side. He is not going to have an executive to please.
But when he goes there, he has to join either of the side.
Well, join how? Simply because I'm sitting here does not mean I've joined you in the way you think. Are you with me? You can sit anywhere you like. What we're concerned about is what is going on in your mind and what you are going to say and the things you're going to stand for. So that is why it's very important that these independent candidates demonstrate that a member of Parliament can stick by his convictions for a cause of reform and restoration, and also he can stick by his principles. And that gives confidence back into the democracy, as it were, so that people who are losing confidence in it can say, oh no, now we can see that the guys are standing by their guns. And we've all been in this country. We've all seen how a whole group of MPs, almost swore by Antoine that the man is going. Then they go to the executive and then fall on the altar of the executive and come back quietly. What happened? We've also been in this country where there has been a lot of talk about proper family values and attacks on an individual, but he stood his ground, even with the foreign interests coming in with all kinds of sanctions, he stood his ground. And that tells you what can happen in Parliament and the degree of confidence that you can get in the person. So the Parliament is our primary domain of democracy. And if people want to see it working better, then they have to begin to expect those standards of principles, sticking to principles, convictions, and also fighting for a cause, not just for a partisan interest. That is the issue at stake.
Let me bring in at this point Dr. Mohammed Abubakar Sadiq. He is General Secretary of the National Interest Movement. Doc is joining us via Zoom. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Great to have you. What strategies are you using to ensure that the agenda is well prosecuted?
Well, I think what we need to do is what we've just started doing. We need to communicate to Ghanaians in clear terms the consequences of what we've been doing for all these years. We have chosen ourselves that we want to be stuck to two political parties. As a result, these parties are taking us for granted all this while. They are taking us for granted because there are some inherent flaws in our democracy. To start with, the mode of selection of the leaders of our political parties is flawed. Leadership is for sale. Hello?
We're on with you. We're listening.
So leadership is for the highest bidder. If you have more money And if you can get a cabal to sponsor your campaign, it doesn't matter whether you have credibility or you have the competence. You are elected to represent your party. And the people who are sponsoring your campaign are not philanthropists. They are investors. They are going to have to recoup their investment at some point. So we are presented with leaders who are incompetent and corrupt from the very beginning. Okay. It is clear that the process of selection of leaders in this country is corrupt, it's criminal. Vote buying is all over the place. This is not a secret. But this is how leaders climb to the top of the political parties that then contest national elections and lead onwards. So this is what we are telling Ghanaians. We've been taken for granted for far too long. This country has been so polarized that in order to even have access to simple opportunities for jobs and contracts, you must belong to Party A or Party B. Now, what about the grayscale? If you are not black or white, is there no chance that there are some people who are within the grayscale? Now, if you need a job now, today, you must necessarily belong to a certain party. And we have seen leaders of parties boast openly how many jobs they have secured for their members. And they claim that those members are Ghanaians and they are qualified. So if I'm a Ghanaian and I'm equally qualified and I don't belong to any of these parties, does it mean that I am completely excluded from opportunities in this country? So this is what we are telling Ghanaians. Look, it is our choice to vote for parties. We have that power, and we are able to decide that we are no longer going to follow any party blindly.
But I mean, you spoke about the issue of funding. An independent parliamentary candidate will still have to have some sources of funding. So, I mean, whether independent or not, you would have some people to fund you, and when you go into the office, you need to do their bidding of a sort. How do we, cure that to say that the independent candidate is more insulated than the one who is aligned to a political party?
Okay, so we can have several modes of funding. For instance, we are proposing that stakeholder groups and trade unions would come together and select representatives from among themselves to represent their interest in parliament. Now, if a member is selected from a trades union, it becomes the responsibility of the trades unions to contribute the campaigns of the individual.
Okay.
Now, when the individual gets to parliament, he's not doing the bidding of any political party. He is there to represent the interests of the group which took him to parliament. Do you understand it? So you see some of the models we are proposing. So for instance, we can have teachers' union. The teachers' union is a very big constituency.
Yeah.
We have NAT, we have NAGRAT, we even have UTAG, TUTAG, and all these groups.
You have CCT as well.
Exactly. Then we can come together and present one leader to represent the interests of teachers or the education sector in parliament. Now it becomes our responsibility as a union to contribute the campaign of these persons. So it no longer becomes the work of a political party that puts you there and tells you what to do, so that you are no longer accountable to the people who voted for you to come and represent them, but you are accountable to the political party on whose ticket you got into parliament.
Okay.
So that whether you like it or not, whether it is in the interest of your constituents or not, you must bow to the dictates of the political party. And this is what we've been running all.
Okay, all right. But Doc, that sounds like a good strategy.
Yes.
But how well have these civil society and these associations bought into the plan?
This is our next stage of consultation, where we are going to meet with the stakeholder groups and explain to them exactly what is at stake. Do you want to randomly vote separately, send somebody to Parliament and start begging the person to represent your issues? Or do you want to focus and organize yourselves? Are you with me? And send your own person under your own steam to Parliament to represent your issues. And if all stakeholder groups start organizing themselves, they will be surprised at how much easier and effective that situation is. Take, for example, let's say health workers. Most of them live around Kolebu over there. Doctors, technicians, nurses, hospital workers, they are all around there. As a percentage of that constituency, how many are there? And if you all decide that, no, we have one of our retired persons here who knows our institution inside out, we are going to select him in this constituency and send him, already he's starting on a cushion, are you with me, of votes. That is more than the average person. Secondly, if you liaise with the chiefs in that constituency and get their buy-in, the people themselves who live around there go to that hospital for treatment. So they know that these are the challenges and that this person will now get those beds we need. He will now get the number of nurses we need, etc. So we have to use the democracy, are you with me, to get what we want. We can't just sit helplessly and complaining all the time. Oh, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. We sent him to Parliament. Even when he's driving, he closes his windows and all of that. Those are complaints we have heard over and over again. The question now is, so what are you going to do about it? And then we can show you what you can do about it. Even when we come to talking about funding generally, we have upwards of 12, 16, now I think it's around 80 million registered voters, isn't it? If out of this, we say that let's target only 5 million, and we say if you're a student or casual worker, contribute only 10 CDs to the campaign. 1 million of you, 10 CDs. Is that not 10 million?
Yeah.
If you have a low-income job, for the whole year, for the whole 4 years, contribute only 20 CDs to the campaign for your parliamentary candidate. Is that not 20 million?
That's a lot of money.
And those of you who are in sort of service jobs, contribute 50 CDs, 2 million of you, or 1 million of you, that is 50 million. And then the wealthy people like you contribute 100 Ghana CDs.
Exactly.
Isn't that 100 million?
Yeah, I can do
if
that.
you add that all together, is that not 200 million? And if we say we will use this 200 million to send 10 parliamentary candidates to Parliament, are you with me? Are they not getting 100,000 each? Are you with me? That's a big amount for a campaign. And to support you, I know that it is not as much as some other people are using, but for a campaign that is going to depend on the people, are you with me? It's a lot, because you don't have to give them money. They are now giving you money, and if they give you money, they'll vote for you. So if you have 5 of those people in Parliament and they are bound by this cause to champion these reforms, etc., over time, you'll get the evolution.
Okay.
Rome was not built in one day. And if you're stuck in a situation and you don't innovate a way to move forward, then you're not going anywhere. So this is what we have to do with our democracy, to avoid the frustration that builds up. And you all know what happens to those pressure cookers our mothers used to use. When it starts whistling and nobody pays any attention to it, you come and find the soup on the roof.
All right. So that's Dr. Abubakar Foster. I pray that all becomes well for this campaign.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right, this is still the AM show. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
In good time, we can have him in camera.
All right, so welcome back. Let's talk about the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. The third clinic is coming up in Tema. How prepared are you? And I've gotten calls from people even as far as Takrady, wanting to join even the Tema one before we do the Takrady one. What are you waiting for? But to tell you much about it, I've been joined here by a rep from the Cities and Habitat Ghana Limited. Aaron Lamte is the admin manager. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. So what is in stock for the clinic coming up in Tema?
Okay, so we have a lot in stock for the Habitat Fair. We've been with the fair for about 3 years now, and we've partnered Joy FM and Joy News because we see the value in that fair. It looks like in buying something of worth or valuable, you have to skim the market. Sometimes going from one place to the other, distance will not give you the chance. So clinics like this give you opportunity to meet different vendors at one-stop shop, and then you weigh your options and make a choice in buying a good home. So what Cities and Habitats are offering at the fair right now is a 50% discount on our registration fee. And then also we have the 1530 promo, which means that when you pay 15% of the total cost of a building, if you pay 30% of the total cost of a building, you have access to the building. So if you pay that,
you can live in.
You can live in and continue on spread it,
the remainder
within the period that has been allotted, which is maximum 25 years. So when you pay this 30%, you get a discount of 15% on that 30% during this period of the fair. And that is what we are offering to every client who walk in there to the fair to try and register with us or acquire a building with us.
Okay.
Yes. And also when you look at our land, we sell land as well because we are into city development. So it's an entire city being put together with all the amenities in there. So the land gives opportunity to those who want their choice of building, the specs, which is not what we have put on table, so that they can build the type of building they want within that time. And when you come, the lands, when you pay within two years, you pay 73,000, and then you get a discount of 10,000 when you pay within a year. And then when you pay outright, you get a discount of 20,000 on the land.
Okay, when you pay outright.
Yes, for the land.
For the land,
yes.
You get a discount of 20,000.
Yes.
How much is the land itself?
The land, 100 by 70 is 73,000 cedis.
Okay.
73,500.
So I'll pay 53,000.
Yes,
okay.
500.
Okay. And what's the location?
Pram Pram.
Okay.
Pram Pram. Because we are into city development, I mean, Pram Pram offers us the vast land to be able to develop a city where you have your roads, where you have your clinics, where you have your
schools,
market, everything that you can think of. Yes. So that at least it gives you a modern city to live in. Yeah.
Interesting. So that's the sort of bonuses that are available at this
at the fair,
right?
Yes.
Okay. So if I want to even take advantage of what's being done, what's the first step that I need to take?
Yes, the first step is to get closer to us, interact with our client service persons. We have our numbers. You can even go on the internet. Our website, New Accra City, is interactive. We interact with our clients over there as well. So you get close to us, talk to us, and then want to register. But when you want to acquire a home, I mean, there are a lot of things you need to look into because some look at location, others look at the type of building.
Okay.
But looking at where the type of building comes first when you are trying to acquire a building because you know where you want to live and the size of family you want to keep. So with time and looking at the span of buildings, it doesn't mean that in the next 50 years, you'll still be considering location. Because most of us, young people, we consider location because of our work, where our work may be. But if you are an entrepreneur and want to set up yourself, the location doesn't count. As I said, it's a city being built. So when you get there and you're an entrepreneur, you can start your work over there. And sometimes vehicle become a luxury for you because you walk into your church, you walk into your school, you walk your children to school, you walk into your workplace, and then you come to your home. And that is how the living should be. Yeah.
It's a well-planned
city and controlled.
Okay.
Because you can well plan it, but if you don't control it, just as Tema is now, you have slums coming in. It's Legon. I'm wondering who want to stay there again, because it will generate slums because it is not controlled. But this is a well-planned and controlled space where residential properties are used for residential activities, and then commercial spaces are used for commercial activities.
Oh, okay.
So you can't just wake up one day in the morning, put a table in front of your house and say, the economy is difficult, so I'm selling oranges in front of my house. You need to go to a market to sell, and you need to acquire space to do that. And that is what Cities and Habitats is offering.
Okay, all right. Is there only Pram Pram that you are developing, or the other places?
Okay, Pram Pram is the focal point now because developing a city entails a lot.
Okay.
It's not like real estate where I sell land to you and wait for government to come and do the roads for us, bring in water and all that. But this is a space where we have to put in all the road networks and all that. So we are putting all effort in Pram Pram now to get it secure. But we have lands in Shiles. We have lands in, we are making arrangement to go to Mampong in the Ashanti region.
Okay.
And then also talks are far advanced with acquiring space in Takoradi.
Okay.
Yes. So these are places that we are working to start the project. But the focal point now is Pram Pram because that is where we've started, and we need to put in more effort to let it. A lot of Ghanaians were waiting to see if it will see the light of day. And I mean, we can all attest to it. Okay. When you come to Pram Pram, you see the work going on.
I'm told you are close to the sea as well, so we can enjoy the breeze by living very close to.
Well, we are not actually close to the sea, but Pram Pram itself.
10 minutes walk to the sea.
Yes, it's not too far from the coastal.
So if I want to have the beach experience, I just walk like 10 minutes and I'm there.
Sure. Okay. And we are creating, an ecosystem within the space where we have jet skiing, we are creating
jet skiing
water
within the city.
Of course.
Oh wow.
We are putting up a water treatment plant to manage the place, and also a big waterfront within the space, so that people who want to see water, want to do jet skiing and all that, could do that within that space.
So like an artificial lake sort of within the city.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you get people like me being interested. All right. Before we go, your final word to our viewers.
Okay. So as I said earlier, Cities and Habitats are here to support our need for housing and make it flexible for everyone who wants to own a home to have it on a flexible scheme. We offer different types of building, and we offer flexible scheme for the acquisition of the home. You register, you start your installment payment. When you pay up to 30%, you enter your building, and then you continue the 70%, and then you own it. That is a rent-to-own concept. And everyone who wants to join us or want to be a part of us can reach us on the following numbers: 055 55 30 300, 055 55 30 300, or 0577 911 101, 0577 911 101, or go to our website newaccra.city, and then everything will be sorted out.
Okay. Newaccra.city.
Newaccra.city.
All right. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And hope to meet you at the fair
Tema.
in Tema.
Sure.
Of course. So Tema and Pram Pram is just close.
This is just our catchment area.
Okay. So I can even take advantage to go to the
site
city
and have a site
to see
visit.
what's happening there. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So that's Aaron Lamte. He is admin manager for Cities and Habitats GH Limited. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Stay with us. Welcome back. And the Department of Food Science and Post-Harvest Technology at the Cape Coast Technical University took part in an innovation pitching competition, Founders Bootcamp Stage 2, organized by PAMEPI, Women in Technology Ghana, in collaboration with the RWTH Aachen University. I'm told this is in Germany, right?
Yes.
The competition was held from April 27 to 28, 2023 at the University of Ghana. The team from CCTU, represented by students from the Department of Food Science and Post-Harvest Technology, emerged as winners, and they have joined me in studio for us to have this conversation. Now, remember that this victory has given the students, the department, and the university as a whole the opportunity to represent Ghana and Africa in Berlin, Germany in October 2023 to compete with over 40 best European universities. Our award competition involves cash and investment prizes. Let's get the details. We've been joined by Mr. Fuseni Yakubu. He is Executive Director for the PAMEPI, Women in Tech Ghana. He is here. And then Emilia Adi is a student of the Cape Coast Technical University, and she is also here. They won the Ghana competition. Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me also announce that we have Dr. Richard Osai, Head of Department Food Science at CCTU, and Dr. Maurice Timbrim, Senior Lecturer, Department of Food Science, also joining us on Zoom. Good morning to you, gentlemen. I hope I have you.
Good morning.
Okay, great. So let me start with you, Husseini. Why this?
Yes. So thank you very much for the opportunity and the honor done us. I'm Mr. Fuseni Yakubu, and I'm the Executive Director of PAMEPI Women in Tech Ghana. So PAMEPI Women in Tech Ghana is a subsidiary of PABNA America Peace Initiative.
Okay.
And it's technology-based for women and girls. So our partners is RWTH Aachen University, which is one of the largest engineering institutions in Germany. So recently we organized a pitching competition for universities across Ghana, where students have the opportunity to pitch their business ideas or tech innovation. And fortunately, on the part of Cape Coast Technical University, they emerge as winners. So we are now working with them to travel to Germany in October from 19th to 20th of this next month. And one interesting thing about this program, it has been in existence for 10 years, over 10 years. And it has always been organized for European institutions. And this is the first time Ghanaian institutions or Africans will take part in the program.
Okay.
So there's high expectation on our part to make an impact over there.
So what was the focus for this competition that CCTU emerged as winners?
Yes, because it's technology based, I think their product is a wonderful product. It's on sanitary pad, and you know there are kids in the rural communities who are from a poor family and they don't have the means to purchase sanitary pads. And their product is something that will help a lot of kids have access to, affordable sanitary pads. And that is why I think it's a convincing product, and that earned them the winning slot of the program.
Okay. So for you, Emilia, what informed, your decision to you invented the product, right? To undertake the invention.
Okay. The business idea came, and already we have a club on campus called Unique Ladies Club that they're into sanitary pad donation. I'm the president of the club.
Okay.
And we do go to the primary schools, JHS, to donate sanitary pad. And we find it that since we have this opportunity to bring out an idea or like a business, and you also identify that it's a problem that is ongoing in Ghana here. Ladies are facing a lot of challenges when it comes to accessing of sanitary pads. Yes. So we thought it's wise to bring out sanitary pad which will be less expensive for ladies to afford. Yeah. So during our research, and we got to know that we can use plantain fiber.
Okay.
Yes, to produce sanitary pad. So we did more research about it, and bamboo fiber too.
Hey.
Yes.
So your product is from plantain and bamboo fiber?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and ginger.
What?
Ginger. It's a compound from ginger.
Okay.
It's called ginger.
So everything, I mean, you everything is done here?
Yes, please.
Okay. And you've manufactured a pad?
Yeah, we've done the
things.
pad, so it's in a test form. That's why we weren't able to bring it here.
Okay.
We were supposed to bring it here for you to see.
Yeah, I would have loved to see it, because something from plantain
and
bamboo. Bamboo cry, it scares me, because you know how bamboo is.
Yeah.
Okay. So what sort of experience have you gathered through the competition?
Yeah, I really experienced a lot. And since it's a business, I've got much idea about business and how to solve problems too. And we had challenges during just business whole thing. We had challenges when it's a new thing. You see, when you're bringing the new thing on board, you definitely find challenges when you're. So we're bringing things, and how to process it was a problem. Although we have the idea, but how to turn into reality was a problem. But God being so good, we're able to do it.
You got this opportunity.
Yeah.
Let me bring in your lecturers who are on Zoom and how they were able to, I'm sure they helped you a lot,
yes.
To come up with this. Well, I have Dr. Maurice Timbrim and Dr. Richard Osai. Let me start with you, Dr. Osai. So, being the head of department, this is great for you and the department as well. What was that motivation for you to say that, look, this is an opportunity where we have to take and see what we can do?
Well, one of the, thank you, and then good morning to your listeners. I'll say that the motivation comes from the students that we teach. We are a newly created department, the Cape Coast Technical University. We are barely 3 years old, and our core mandate is to train students in the area of food science, post-harvest technology, and agriculture engineering. And as part of this, we try to inculcate the habit of research, the habit of field trips, going to places to see how things are done. We realize that women, in particular, are the vulnerable when it comes to the use of a sanitary pad. And so what can the student bring out to solve this problem? Majority of all the sanitary pads in Ghana are imported. So what can we do as a technical university to use the locally available materials that we have around us to turn into some? And so students bring this idea, we polish it up, and we saw that it's useful. We went into this competition, we coached them, and God being so good, they emerged as winners after competing with about 18 or 20 universities in Ghana. So the motivation actually starts from the students and the environment that we are finding ourselves. We are a technical university, so our focus is on technical base. The CBT, what we call competence-based training. The students are trained on the exact practical they are supposed to know to enhance their learning. And so that is where the motivation comes from, using locally available material to produce something that is when it exists as far as sanitary pad is concerned.
Interesting. So that has taught you, it has taught you how to use other, raw materials in this country to provide solutions. And I'm sure the students have also, gotten that experience of having hands-on what they've been learning from the classroom.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Let me bring on Dr. Timbrim. So, Doc, what is the future looking like for the department and for the team that is representing us on an international stage? Dr. Timbrim. Okay. All right, this is still the AM show. We are on with student from, a student from TTU, CCTU, Cape Coast Technical University, and then also the executive director of PAMEPI, Women in Tech Ghana. So for you, Mr. Fuseni, this is the world stage. What is expected of these students?
It's very competitive, very, very. And I wish we had clips of last year program, the Funders Bootcamp Stage 2. And so we are well prepared. We are working hard towards it. And I'm very, very optimistic that they will put up a great show over there. And the cash prizes ranges from 30,000 euros to 3.5 million euros.
Hey.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of money.
Yes. 30,000 to 3.5 million euros. And we've offered a coaching service to them, our partners in Germany. For the past 3 weeks, they've been coaching them every Monday. And I think we are going to put up a great show over there. And apart from that, we're also organizing additional meetings in Germany to help us get funds to increase production for their product. Yes. And we're also working towards putting it on a global scale.
Okay.
And that we'll be needing corporate support here. Even though their visit is fully funded, their flight ticket and hotel, we are taking care of it. But definitely we'll need some funds to help them. Be able to do the additional meetings that we have scheduled in Berlin. So we really need corporate support from Ghana here, and individuals who will be able to help fund the additional meetings that we are going to do in Berlin.
Okay. I'm told we have Dr. Tim Brim on the line now. Doc, so how is the preparation like? This is really a wonderful opportunity for the student and for the university itself.
Yes, thank you very much once again. Actually, like you rightly put it, it is an opportunity, and a rare opportunity for that matter. And I must say that we have broken through, because if you listen to what my previous contributors mentioned, you realize that no such thing in Ghana as we speak. And so to be able to come out with locally made materials, that kind of problem like this is one that I think is worth pushing. It is not just that we are doing it, but if you look at the statistics, and if you look at it carefully, globally, you realize that we have about 1.8 billion women who are of reproductive age. Now, out of these women, 500 million of them lack sanitary pads. This is according to UNESCO. Now, if you come to Sub-Saharan Africa, you realize that about 1 out of 10 girls misses school due to lack of this sanitary pads. And so it means that we are faced with a huge challenge. And so we're looking at what impact can this project create. And if you look at those that we have, you realize that most of them are imported. And so we are saying that no, it is not the way to go. Let us look around and see what local material that we can make use of, solve these problems. And so we are developing a biodegradable sanitary pad using plantain pseudo stem and that of bamboo. And in fact, it means that we are coming out with what we call a hybrid sanitary pad that can stand the test of time. And like we are saying, we have finished developing the product. All we are trying to do is now test just to run a test on it to perfect it. But as I speak to you, it has met all the standards that are required for certification.
Interesting. I mean, this is indeed good. So is it the same product you're taking to the world competition?
Yeah, we are supposed to send a prototype.
Okay.
So we are sending the sanitary pad to present to help for us to win.
Okay. Yeah. But is there anything else they have to do in order to win this competition, or is just what they've developed that they are taking to the competition?
Yes, what they developed is what we call a prototype.
Okay.
So it's a prototype that they will use as so
usually it's about pitching.
Yes,
so they're going to pitch their business idea.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This year competition will have over 50 universities. Last year it was 40.
Okay.
And they've increased it to 50. So this is the first time African
University
is going to take part in the program.
And it's none other than Cape Coast Technical University.
Yes. Yes. So it's just a prototype, but we have top European investors coming to take part in the program. So the most important thing is for us to put up a great show. Even it's not about the cash prize, but it's about investors expressing interest to fund the project. So that is so we are targeting beyond the cash prize, but to convince investors who will be present in the program to buy our idea and invest in the product.
You have a job already, huh? Even before you complete school, you have a job.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? I mean, and then that's why going on this platform.
Like, I feel good. It's okay. It's by grace because I'm in school and I'm doing something like this. Yes, I've always wished to do something like this, and it has happened. So I think that's my platform for me to explore here.
Which level are you?
200.
Oh, you have 2 more to go.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a star. Level 200. And okay, so you, how many are you in the group?
We are 8.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 ladies and 3 gentlemen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of my friend, the one I'll be going out with, in Germany, she's here, but because of lack of space here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm happy for you, ladies.
So 3 of them are going.
3 of them.
3 ladies.
Fully funded.
Fully funded.
Yeah.
You have to go.
But what we say fully funded is covering only their flight ticket and their hotel.
Okay.
So that is why we're saying if there are individuals or corporate bodies who can help them with the additional meetings in Germany.
Additional meetings.
Yes.
Okay.
To enable them raise enough funds to increase production.
Okay.
Unemployment is a major issue in Ghana. And we strongly believe if we give them a push, it will go a long way, to create job opportunities for others.
We have bamboo in abundance, right? We have plantain in abundance.
Always creating environmental pollutions in the farm, and so that's why we are trying to use that to make a meaningful product.
So you are solving unemployment, you are solving lack of sanitary pads for people who cannot afford them, and then you are dealing with environmental degradation as well. 3-in-1 solution. Kudos to you. Doctors on Zoom, grateful to you, wish you all the best. Before we go, any last words? Let me start with you, Dr. Osai.
Thank you. Before we sign off, I'd like to say that Cape Coast Technical University, Department of Food Science and Food Service Technology is nowhere. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. I'm saying that before we sign off, I would like to say that Cape Coast Technical University, Department of Food Science and Service Technology, is training more people in the area that we are seeing, because we are a technical-based university who have the mandate to train people on competence-based experience learning. And so we encourage all students, all prospective applicants to apply and come and join this noble group and learn things of this nature. Like they all said, we are not training just students to become food scientists, but we are training students to become post-harvest technologists, where we'll be able to help to minimize or reduce the post-harvest losses and ensure sustainability of food, food security as well. And so this is an opportunity where we encourage all prospective applicants to apply. We are also encouraging investors to also come on board, come and partner with you to go to
all right, Doc. Okay, Doc.
I think that's what we are saying.
Okay, Doc.
But I also use the opportunity to thank my staff members.
Okay, we're grateful. I'm sure they've heard that. Thank you so much, sir. This has been an interaction with the Executive Director of PAMAPI, Women in Tech Ghana, Fuseini Yakubu, and also Emilia Adi. She's a student of the CCTU. They won the competition to represent Ghana on that international stage. All the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. This is the AM show. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, so let's wrap it all up with two of the finest schools that Ghana, has, and Central Region is blessed to have them. They said, they have some fun games coming up at the Burma camp, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
What is it about? And I thought that at Disco and Advancement, you are always fighting. Why is it that now you are coming together?
Our kind of fight is friendly fights.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so sorry. So I have Jojo Datsun. Are you that? Yeah, Jojo Datsun. Joseph Datsun, and then DJ Kobna.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, DJ Kobna. That's my the initials for David Jabez.
Okay.
Yes.
Evantina.
Me Evantina.
Most my cousin I'm Evantina.
Me Evantina can come and start the collection as well. So that differentiates it. Okay. Yes. So you made mention of the rivalry between the two schools. Yes. Yeah. It's been a healthy one. We've had these games since 1992.
Oh, okay.
The engagement between us out there, it looks explosive.
Yeah.
Within us, we are friends. We come together to achieve a common goal. And part of it is the program that we have tomorrow at 7 a.m. at the Burma Camp Sports Complex.
Okay.
Yes. It's Santa Moba Games.
Okay.
Santa Moba Games is games since 1992 that it started.
Okay.
We've had illustrious sons being present
part of it.
at the program. We can make mention of Sam Jonah,
okay.
Our Honorable Kujo Yanka, Nana Bru Butler, Butchie can add up,
okay.
and other. We've had a very fantastic.
What's the focus of this fun games tomorrow?
So basically, the main purpose for this fun games tomorrow is to raise funds for both schools.
Okay.
I mean, that's one thing that I love about both Adesadel and Infanspin, where we all show our love to the school during our speech days.
Okay.
Come November, we'll be having our speech day, and we are going to make sure we are giving proceeds towards our ultra-modern sports complex, where we are doing an 8-lane athletic tartan track.
From Infanspin.
Okay. The AstroTurf is already done, so we are just putting the outline for the 8-lane tartan track. That's for this year, November. And next year, March, will be Adesadel's ultra-modern solar project for the entire school.
Okay.
Also a wonderful edifice that they are doing as well. As you know, like I said, we are rivals, but we all always are there for each other. So the proceeds from the games tomorrow is going out to these schools, and basically we are asking all our old boys, old and new, and also our sister schools, Wesley Girls, Infansiman, St. Monica's, and Holy Child, we're inviting them to come as well.
Okay.
The tickets are going for 50 Ghana cedis, and I'm sure my brother on the other side of the hill will share us the code.
Okay.
Yes, as I said, the ticket is going for 50 Ghana cedis. The T-shirt, as we are wearing, I mean, source of raising funds for the programs, also going for 100 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
The code to purchase your ticket is *713 *8741. *713 *8741 hash.
Yeah.
For your tickets, you get your 50 Ghana cedis, and the full day is yours.
Okay.
You have the games coming on. We have foods coming on. We have a lot of network going on.
Networking opportunities.
And that's the most important thing that mostly we look at. If you are to look at the backgrounds of both schools, they have illustrious stands on this soil, of which you come, you meet up, and you not believe that with 50 Ghana cedis, an opportunity that you are not expecting has been opened to you. So come, let's engage, let's renew our rivalry again, and let's banter a bit, because with the games, we are the defending champions.
Okay.
And tomorrow we'll beat them again and continue to be the defending champions come next year.
May I come in here where I have to remind our brother that we are 50 years older than them.
Okay.
We set the pace. And yes, they won the last edition, and this is the 16th edition. We are going to make sure we are taking
a number.
It's a number, but we will make sure it reflects in our actions tomorrow. And it shall reflect. We will leave them with their jaws on the ground.
Oh, okay.
And we will have so many games. Soakings will be there. We will see who can eat the soakings the more.
Hey.
Our regimental bands from both schools are coming. Live.
Give that soakings to my friend Kweku Obiaje.
Oh my goodness. he's my mate as well.
Okay. And also we'll encourage members to come with their family.
Yes.
Don't leave the family out. We have a family
So you have to buy a ticket for the family as well.
The family tickets, family of 5, goes for 150 Ghana cedis. And to the other schools, you are not left out. You are invited to this program as well. And our sister schools, Wegehe, Holy Child, St. Monica's, Mansite, very important, Mansite. You are all welcome. Let's come make merry and make our various institutions as great as ever.
So Joseph Datson is a member of the planning committee of the Infant Pema Disadel Fund Day Games planning committee. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
DJ Kobina is also a member of the same committee, and so these are Disco, this Infant Pema, red and white. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
All the best.
Thank you too.
All right, and that's how we wrap up the AM show for today. There is more on myjoyonline.com. Up next is the news desk. Good morning and enjoy your weekend.